Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I know that my name is not actually on the layout, but as a Speed Gaming representative, I am here to make a special announcement ahead of our version 11 exposition race. Just a quick shout out to Azure and Aussie for kind of being our pickup runners for this event here. Also, thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting this fun little race. Do want to give a quick shout out. Tracy Maniacal reminded me as our crew for the day. And I guess we'll get down to the business of our super special announcement. I know there's a lot of speculation about multi-world tournaments. That's not quite yet on the books. So sorry to everybody who gets the disappointment of the multi-world not quite on the docket, but we do have our 1v1 SMZ3 2020 tournament. So yeah, prize pool sponsored by Rank 1 Gaming. We will be running a version 11 1v1 tournament starting the 13th of April. And it will be normal logic, so it's more accessible to our friends and everybody who would be interested in joining. I think at this time what we're planning is doing a two-stage tournament starting with groups to brackets. It'll basically be groups to the brackets, so you'll have to, I think it's like 5 races per group, similar to how the Link to the Past tournament and Challenge Cup have gone this past couple months. So let's go ahead and release the hounds. You guys are available to open registration. There is a prize pool Azure. First place will win $125. Second place will win $100. Third place will win $75. And fourth place will win $50, meaning that there will be a bronze match. To be eligible to accept and win your prizes, you'll have to claim that on the Rank 1 website. There will be more details available on the Discord for the event. And we have our challenge page available and the Discord linked in the chat now. Do you guys have any questions, thoughts, concerns?
Us? No, I think we're good.
I'm only wondering how everybody in chat is not already registered. If anyone's out there who's not already clicked on that challenge link and signed up, get on it. What are you doing?
Have you clicked on it yet, Maniacal?
Absolutely not.
Uh-oh. Well, he's not in chat right now.
I have a good answer for what I'm doing. I'm commentating an announcement.
Yep. There is a tournament starting the 13th of April. This is not technically a community race. This is a version 11 showcase, I suppose, of sorts for the upcoming tournament. So yeah.
Yeah, we do have the top two SRL points leaders in this race, Aussie and Azure. So really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, turns out these guys are both pretty good at this game, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, our runners are set to go, so I will turn the time over to you guys if you want to give a breakdown of SMZ3, what it's about, how we play, and our goals, and you guys can get going.
All right, sounds
good.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Metroid.
Yes, thank you, Miss Metroid. That was excellent. So, Tracy, are you lukewarm about this announcement, or are you super hype?
I'm super hype. I'll be honest, I'm not actually gonna enter it, but I will be commentating a whole lot of these races, and I'm gonna help Miss Metroid behind the scenes with the tournament organization. So I am really looking forward to this tournament. I mean, my two all-time favorites Super Nintendo games. I mean, how much better can you get? You can't get any better than this.
I'd love to answer that, but first I gotta call out Tarthoron in chat for misunderstanding the tournament structure that we were literally just told about. Says, I'd probably be out in the first round. That can't happen in a groups tournament. Literally impossible. Everyone gets to play so many rounds. That's how groups work.
Yeah,
So,
guaranteed.
you know, you get a few rounds guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If it's 5-round groups, that means groups of 6, you would be guaranteed 5 races that you would get to play in the tournament. And, you know, that would be sweet. It depends on the size of the race, or the size of the groups as to how many races each person gets, but usually it's round robin groups. I don't actually know the structure. I'm just kind of going off what we're just told. But, you know, you're guaranteed some amount of play. So if you like playing these games, or this one hybrid game, it's worth a go. I'll be signing up. Just haven't done it yet.
You better be signed up for this, because I'm looking forward to watching you play it. Because I just looked it up. You're number 4 in SRL, so yeah, you know, shout outs to that.
I've been slipping. Is what's happened. Is I've not been on my SMZ3 grind, but with this v11 release coming up, I think I might make some time for it. As it turns out, I have a little bit more time at home these days than I expected.
A lot of us have that.
And so maybe I can spend some of that time doing some SMZ3.
Yeah, I need to get work on my 49 ranking here. So I cracked the top 50, so that's pretty good for me.
Hey, that is a real thing. I think there's over 100 people on that leaderboard now.
Yeah, so really cool to see how this game has grown over the last, I guess almost going to be 2 years in June, I think.
Yeah, those first, what was it even called? It was like Super Zelda Metroid.
Yeah, we were getting all sorts of creative.
I have them on the SD card that I keep all the seeds archived on. I entered that folder on my SD to SNES the other day and just scrolled down and saw it was like Super Zelda or something is what it was called.
Yeah, I remember in particular in the very, very early stages. And they fixed this very quickly after this happened, watching some friends of mine run one of these things, and there was a morph ball in GT. That quickly got taken out as a possibility. Because the point is to go back and forth between 2 games. You don't want to just play one game and then play the other one, because you could just do that, you know?
Yeah, that was one of the textures that really bothered me about some of the early beta seeds, but we've come a long way from that, which is awesome. Yeah, and really developed into a pretty robust racing community, and so it's a really good community.
Shout out to Total for putting this all together, and because who knew that this could even be done? Like the first time I heard about it, I was like, what? Because I mean, remember, you think back to the 2017 tournaments that both these games had. There were a lot of jokes about, hey, you know, what if hookshot was at, you know, your first item, or, you know, even just, you know, just before anyone even thought this could be a thing.
Yeah, and then the early seeds with what you were saying, like GT, morph ball logic, and even before that, it was seeds where if you entered like the Misery Mire screen, it would just crash. So the earliest beta seeds, you couldn't go into Ice Palace or Misery Mire legitimately, and so you had to glitch into GT to make the game beatable.
Oh no!
But thankfully, we got that debugged, or Total got that debugged with a lot of work. But it looks like the runners are off, and they're both going straight to Zelda. And
we already see some of the new things. We have the different sprites are going to be a little bit easier to do in version 11. Azure with his alternate Link sprite, and we got Aussie appropriately with a Samus sprite.
Yeah, definitely some custom sprites are some of those things that have come along in the last year and a half or so, and so we'll see if they throw the runners off at all. But both these guys are pretty well practiced, like you said. Our top 2, at least in terms of SRL points, ranked racers, both very skillful. And I'm sure they'll be doing fine regardless of what sprite they're playing with.
So interesting as we see the beginning. I know Azure often likes to do the start where he goes into Link's house and then resets straight to the Sanctuary, but it's instead gone ahead and gone to Uncle, whereas Aussie did exactly that, did reset over to Sanctuary. Gets a nice tree pull with a whole lot of big magic.
Yeah, and so the big news here is that Early Uncle is going to pay off for Ashdar because he's going to have that bottle. If Aussie doesn't hit one earlier in Kakariko, that'll be an extra Kakariko check that's available to Ashdar that won't be available to Aussie. So watch what Sick Kid has when he gets there.
Yeah, but even if it's nothing, that's just one more check that Asi will have to go out of his way to go get. So definitely an advantage on Azur's part.
Exactly. It's just a little opening advantage. Sometimes people delay Kakariko a little bit. Asger's decided that the item density in Kakariko is too attractive now that he does have at least one item that makes it a little better. And is... Ooh, and Asi finds a moon pearl at the mushroom spot. That's actually a big find. That distracted me from what I was saying otherwise.
Yeah, that moon pearl is very, the two orbs, so to speak, the moon pearl and the morph ball being the two items that are probably the most important finds in this game. The moon pearl granting the Dark World access, morph ball pretty much opening up large portions of Super Metroid.
Yeah, more or less true. They're the items that hard gate, provided you have all the other items, the most things in the game. And so,
yes, absolutely.
I was going to say, while Moon Pearl itself doesn't grant Dark World access, it's required for sufficient access to a number of checks in Dark World. So it is nice that the runners have that early. We'll see how long it takes them to find things like hammer and a glove or a couple gloves, or, gravity suit plus morph ball plus things to get through Meridia to get to Dark World, because we do have the cross-game portals for Dark World as well.
Yeah, and Aussie is going to go ahead and get some money here early in the Houlihan room. I'm not sure how far he got into Kakariko, but he didn't quite get all the way through. Azur's going to go ahead and go to Kakariko right now.
Yeah, and Ashdar did pick up 20 rupees off of 2 different tree pulls, so he has 40 now, which means that even if he doesn't get bombs, he'll be guaranteed to be able to get the rupees to buy bombs here from the well check, which I'm pretty sure is why we're seeing him blow by the blindside check first. Actually, a very nice play by Ashdar, and we've got 2 packs of power bombs is something worth looking out for early. And Aussie going for those 50-50 bomb bushes there, south of Link's house on his way to south to North Cac, and hitting 2 bombs is some good luck, and one of those is maybe going to be worth it for a blind race game check, but no, he's going to scout it first.
Yeah, when you're low on bombs, 300 rupees though, that's a tough one to turn down. That's one of those ones that I like to see. I often like to blind check this because 300 rupees is very easy to just say, hey, I'm already here, I'm going to grab them, and a little more difficult to say I'm going to get it when I've already checked it.
Yeah, it feels bad having done Houlihan and then finding that, but that just might set him up for an early Zora play. And with that Moon Pearl also lets him force a water walk out of a fake flipper at the Waterfall Fairy Cave.
Yes.
And so that's going to incentivize that Zora play, and I'm sure he's thinking of that with grabbing this 300.
And we do see a nice 300 in the chicken hut, so looks like Azure will have a good amount of money too, even though he didn't do the Houlihan play.
Yeah, I suspect because Azure also already has that Moon Pearl, and early on rupees are just generally pretty valuable anyway. Let's see what that bottle is. Just 20 bucks.
Rupees. Okay, well, not an advantage in terms of item, just an advantage in terms of not having to come back here and check it later.
Yeah, but I think we will see Ashdar probably, unless he stumbles into another 300, grab that 300 at the race game, and getting a hammer from the bottle vendor.
Yeah, it's a nice
That's
item.
Also great.
That's essentially 2/3 of our Dark World access. We still need a glove. Aga 1 could still be a possibility, but we haven't seen any items leading us in that direction, so probably not going to happen. It also is a lot rarer that you have to fight Aga 1 in an SMZ3 situation, because you do have that backdoor Meridia portal that you can use just to get to the Dark World, and there are times when that can be required. There are also times when you can break around the Aga logic by doing that, especially in a normal mode where things like Suitless Meridia are never required. But if you have the items to do it, you might just do it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Hammer, the runners are going to be really disincentivized from making an Aga play, so I don't think we'll see anyone get very aggressive with that. Just because if you find a glove anywhere, whether in or out of logic, then you're going to be able to break around that and have that time save.
Okay, looks like Azure's done with town. Did not go to the race game, so doesn't quite have that money yet. But, we'll probably route it in later. And it looks like he's headed towards South Shore.
Yeah, and I like the South Shore play here. It's not coupled to any dungeons. It's going to give him a way to get some extra items early. He's got that hammer, although also has bombs. I'm not a big fan of hammer Smoldorms.
Oh, that's a terrible weapon. It works.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing, but
It gets done. But yeah, I would just use bombs, personally, if I wasn't hard-pressed for bombs.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah, we see Aussie, meanwhile, is just cleaning up Kakariko, following up on all those locations that we've seen Azure check. Aussie, of course, did Houlihan early, and so that did cost a little bit of time. But we'll see where he chooses to go. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go South Shore, but maybe Escape is on his mind.
That is a bow. And now Azure checks his map to see whether or not he should go to Eastern. Not like, Azure's very famous for skipping Eastern, especially if it's a pendant, where, that bow so often really isn't leading you towards Eastern, so often leading you towards Pod, since there's so many more items gated by that bow there. But it is a crystal, so you might just go ahead and do it, even though technically not in logic without a lamp.
Yeah, this early, if we find Dark World access in this sphere, I would be very incentivized to go straight to Pod, and just to see how quickly it bow locks.
Yep.
Because if it bow locks fast, those things behind are pretty valuable. And another 300 rupee drop here in the Smoldorm Cave, or the back of Smoldorm Cave for Azure. That is a nice find.
Yeah, and also going to mention, for those of you that are used to the Link to the Past V31, these bows are not progressive, so the bow is going to be separate from the silver arrows, as opposed to what we see in on the newest Link to the Past, where you have two bows. I personally prefer it that way, especially when you get, we saw a seed in the league recently where you had a progressive bow on Lumberjack. And it's like, okay, do I need to get that or not? It's a much easier call in that situation.
I think it's an easier call in this situation, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
In this, I mean. I was gonna say this. Well, I'm just gonna have to do that at some point.
Exactly. And that's what I meant. I think I misspoke a little bit there, but yeah, I'd rather see a bow and be like, "Yep, gotta get that," than or see a silver and say, "Okay, rip silvers."
So Ice Rod Cave there. Power Glove for Azure. I think we're gonna see that straight to Hype Cave.
Yeah,
and
like
probably straight to Pod. Has the rupees for it. I would have expected, if that wasn't the Power Glove, maybe to see that fake flipper to Waterfall Cave and Zora. But at this point, you just opened up a lot of stuff in Dark World, and we see Pendant Thieves, the classic meme.
Ugh, Pendant Thieves gets me every time. I hate that dungeon when it's pendant.
Oh, the crabs, the battle crabs were out for blood.
Yeah, the crabs in both games just do a ton of damage. 2 hearts on green mail.
This could be serious no bueno if Aussie bails on that glove location.
Well, we have a fire source and a sword.
Yeah, and it looks like he is bailing.
Ooh. But Master, meanwhile, had a very nice hype cave. Oh, looks like doing a splash deletion to go to Zora.
Yeah, and this is a nice play to get him to the fake flipper play that he was going to basically audible into if Ice Rod Cave was nothing, so it picks his route back up. A nice 3 arrows and 2 bomb sprites loaded overloads that Ancilla table, and so the game can't spawn the splash sprite.
And as you're having checked Hype Cave already, is going to come and do the Village of Outcasts area, it looks like. But yeah, for Aussie, I mean, eventually he will get funneled back to that Ice Rod Caves check, because he'll run out of things eventually. The worst thing he could find right now is another glove, because it might take him a while to get to the Ice Rod Cave, would then be his mitts.
I'll disagree. I think that another glove would work out just fine. Although an out of logic glove here would be distressing. I think him full clearing and just like say he finds Morph Ball or something, that would be a real travesty.
Yeah, I could take him away from that glove for a long time.
Yeah, but another glove here would basically be a replacement, and unless mirrors behind mitts or something, I think he would end up actually, it would be fine.
Yeah, that's a really
It
good
might
point.
look weird for a while.
Did you
But
see
yeah,
that?
that's a thing.
That
Yeah,
is
that's a
a
gravity
thing.
suit.
It'll be interesting to see if he tries to do the splash deletion again here. It's actually a much more difficult spot to do it in. It'd be the only way, as far as I know, that he can get that gravity suit right now.
I fully expect a splash deletion here. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go for it.
And an ice rod.
Wow, that is... So both rods early, each player with one.
And we even have a Turtle Rock as a crystal dungeon. So often we see Turtle Rock as a pendant dungeon when that ice rock comes out early. Meanwhile, Azur's in Thieves Town. I'm going to at least check the front part of it. See how many items he picks up.
Yep, and Aussie setting up. Gets his arrows in the wall, and then lays the bombs. Does that splash deletion again, and is going to grab that early gravity suit.
Yeah, no problem.
It's not going to change the color of his Samus, which is weird.
That would be really cool if they managed to do that, but I suspect we'll just have to wait for the blue and red males if he gets them to see. And as you're going ahead and death warping out, I think.
Yeah, just a front foreplay on Pendant Thieves. Didn't turn up anything, but fairly quick check and gets him right back into Village of Outcasts. So very reasonable play. And Aussie is going to take that bow and hammer, and he's going to go and do Eastern. This is, again, we're going to see what he finds here, what Azure has left behind in Light World. But mostly, unless something comes up, this is just going to be pretty bad for Aussie. That crab death is just showing up to be more and more impactful every time that he misses something or gets directed away from Ice Rod Cave.
Although we haven't seen, other than that hype cave, we haven't seen a whole lot more in the Dark World. As Azure picks up bombs, bombs that both bombs in Zelda and power bombs in Super Metroid are those funny items that you really want to see early, but after a few minutes into the game, you just don't want to see any more of.
Well, it depends. I'm happy to find bombs until I have some other offensive weapon.
Yes, absolutely.
Way to deal consistent damage in A Link to the Past, because bombs actually aren't that bad at dealing damage to a lot of the enemies. Yeah,
that's a really good point. And that kind of leads me into some of the changes. We won't see quite as many bomb and arrow capacity upgrades. They aren't completely removed as they were in the A Link to the Past randomizer, but there are definitely a lot fewer of them. I think a lot of them are replaced with just regular bomb pickups.
Yeah, I don't know the exact counts or anything, but there are fewer of them in v11 than there was in v10.2. And first item in Skullwoods here, just a red rupee. So far, Azure not finding too much exciting here in Dark World, but I'm really feeling like Pod is the place to be.
I agree. It's a not quite in logic, but otherwise full clearable dungeon. With that fire rod that Azure has, the one really difficult room, the turtle room, is not too bad because you can light the torch there.
Yeah, it's beatable right now. It's not even that bad.
Yeah.
Given the hammer and the fire rod, you can beat it and get through it pretty conveniently. With Green Mail, it's a little scary, but mostly it's that bow and Dark World access that just gets you deeper in the logic, and that's the thing that is gating everything right now. So
absolutely,
I'm real curious about that.
Nice use of the Wallmaster there from Azure to get a free ride to the front of the dungeon.
Yeah, the front of the back half of the dungeon.
Yeah, exactly.
Skullwoods is weird.
It is.
And Aussie is doing a good job there at taking care of the back of Eastern. This room can really be quite bad in the dark, but gets through it cleanly. Nicely done.
Yeah, when Azure goes back there, whether or not he has a lamp or not, he's going to have that fire rod, and we'll be able to light a torch for that room. Dark room's still not in logic in SMZ3, unlike some of the v11 and Link to the Past. So even with that fire rod, this is not in logic, but...
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to dark room, so players of this caliber just, oh, it's dark room, I can do it, not a problem.
Yeah, we tend to just ignore most of those things anyway. Didn't catch what got Azure, but I don't imagine it was intentional given where he was headed. So we'll see.
You know what though? I see that he looks like he checked that chest under the bridge. So that may have been intentional.
Okay. Yeah, that was definitely intentional. He was just doing that check first. Makes sense. My apologies. Azure totally knows what he's doing. Didn't make a mistake, at least there. We'll find a mistake later to point out that's actually a mistake.
Oh, of course. If you're not making mistakes in this game, you're not playing this game. So
yeah, this game, everyone makes many mistakes every run, and so we'll see which mistakes the runners make. So far, the crabs being the emergent one.
And this is going to be a very rough Mothula fight from Azure with just a fighter sword and only a couple of shots on that fire rod.
Yeah, this is not a cozy fight.
I mean, he can use the hammer. Good
time to point out that another change from v11 is that all those bottles come empty. So that bottle he got doesn't have anything in it. He didn't fill it with anything. So he's just going to have to clutch this one out. And so far, ooh, that was a rough spike pattern.
Yep. It looks like he is going to supplement with a couple of fire rod shots he does have. He could switch to the hammer. It will deal more damage, but it's a tricky hitbox to hit Mothula with that hammer.
These spike patterns are awful, and Azure's doing an excellent job with them.
Oh, and he gets through it. And very nicely done.
All for a second big 20, but gets a crystal. So
it's a crystal. And we're tied up with crystals.
Important.
Aussie's going to have to be careful down to 1 heart as he goes into the front of Escape. He looks like he'll be fine at this point.
Yeah, I feel like we might just see a death warp from Aussie. He's in good shape for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you know, the bottles being empty is kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of nice, I mean, in the sense of you're not always getting the bees, which weren't very useful anyway. And you don't have to worry about fairies messing up your death warps anymore. But it is kind of nice every once in a while to find a bottle of blue goo, just like in Ganon's Tower. Like, okay, hey, I got an extra safety here.
Man, that shovel is just a beating if it doesn't turn into something. Like, the game's just running Aussie around with no good movement items, keeping him away from that Ice Rod Cave. We might even see the Blue Bryn play before Ice Rod Cave. Yeah,
that's not a fast check. This is normal. There'll actually only be 1 item in logic, but Aussie has played enough Super Metroid that he knows how to get the second item available.
And we got the Fighter Sword combo with Cape, but Fighter Sword, of course, in Hype Cave, keeping it safe. Aga Index still well gone.
Okay, as you're making his way over to the eastern area, he will full clear this, but not going to get much out of it. Other than a crystal, which is, important. Might go ahead and go straight to pod afterwards. Ideally, you want to do pod first and then mirror into Eastern, but that's kind of hard if you don't have a mirror.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of this Eastern play before the pod play just because of playing down logic, but I think that I bias toward that more than most people. Mm-hmm. And what that ends up with is I get punished by Sphere 1 skips more than most people.
Yeah.
And so I just get bodied every race I do.
Yeah, I think the difference is, I mean, in this case, like I said, without a mirror, it's very, very difficult to combine them in the way you would be best. So, And since it is a crystal, if it were a pendant, then this would really shock me if he was going into Eastern at this point. Here's going to be that dig spot for Aussie. Let's see
it's one to watch.
Just a 20. He doesn't even pick it up.
Yeah, we've got 3 300s already. Aussie has been to Zora and has 700 rupees at this point. Like,
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
We don't need to grab anything that gives us a fanfare that is rupees at this point.
Yeah, and Azure skipped that race game, never got to there, so he's supposed to get 300 too and has 657. So.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I didn't realize that Azure never got down to the race game. That's probably something that is going to weigh on his mind. But he got his Dark World access in Sphere 1 and has the bow from that, so I think that's going to be big. Yeah, Aussie, again, then chasing that bottle that he got later over to Sick Kid with Shovel. It's a nice pair of fetch quest checks. So not losing too much time on each of those, but we'll see if this is that play. It's either Agina or it's back to Ice Rod Cave. It's looking more Agina to me right now.
Yeah, Agina, that check that you don't really want to do. It doesn't pair well with anything unless you're heading over towards Desert. Right now we have no book to do anything in Desert, and Desert being a pendant anyway, not really the place we want to go.
Yeah, I'm worried about the save and quit hard reset out of Agina here, just because that's a pretty standard, like, oh my gosh, this is the last thing I have in Sphere 1. What the heck is going on? Why does the seed hate me so bad? Type of play.
For sure.
Haven't ever done that, by the way.
No,
absolutely never.
Me neither. Never.
Get to Agina, it's Morph Ball or Speed Booster or something, and you're just like, my gosh. All right.
Or Screw Attack, that's another one.
Yeah, hopefully not this time. Hopefully this is just utter garbage, and Aussie needs to end up over at Ice Rod Cave.
Okay, not utter garbage. A sword is good, but yeah, he's a lamp away from Aga.
Yeah, it's real good we don't have a lamp yet.
Let's see if he heads over towards Ice Cave. He's starting to run out of places to go, so he's going to have to hit this eventually.
Yeah, this is the Ice Rod Cave play. He's going to get his glove, and he's going to be back on track. And the nice thing here is with that extra sword, he's going to end up in good shape. And he's making a different play here. Maybe a different setup for the deletion. Nope, he's going to do the blue brand.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do the splash deletion, but didn't quite get it. So he says, well, I'm right here by the portal. Let's just do the blueprint star check. If this is nothing, he can just reset back to the ship without any penalty.
Aussie has made roughly, 2 mistakes this race, and both of them have just punished him.
Yeah. I mean, Azure will eventually get his flippers, because the flippers will have to show up for that gravity suit, and he'll get his gravity suit. He might do the fake flipper as well and get over there, but we'll see.
Oh, no!
Oh, that is the worst. Okay, it's not the worst. Mushroom, because at least Powder has its own uses, but now he can't reset out of that. He's going to have to check that.
Yeah, you're going to chase this if you're Aussie. Or, I don't know. Sometimes Aussie just baffles me.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand exactly how he routes, so God knows.
Yeah,
but
if we understood how he routed, we'd be better. Because whatever he does seems to work.
Yeah, well, this is the opposite case, but he's at least efficiently clearing things out.
Yep.
And so we're gonna see him go and probably check his powder and then go and like saltily get his power glove, I think is how this is gonna go. Thankfully, nothing else has opened up, unless this powder leads us on another chase.
Yeah, let's see. So it looks like Azure is going to go over to Pod now. But yeah, I mean, may it not be a mushroom. So. And we are going to get to see Pod, so this is good.
Yeah, I swear, on Dark World access, I would have rushed this. This would have been like top of my list just because of liking to play down logic. But you know, we'll see how it turns out. It could just be a dead end.
At least it is, like I said, it's a crystal that he can finish. But yeah, it's 5 items, so that's a lot of items that could be here.
Yep. Azure into Palace of Darkness. This is what I'm gonna be keeping my eye on, but I do want to see this powder check too. But this powder check is Aussie basically saying, please let it not be Ice Rod Cave.
Pretty much. He's failed to get there twice, essentially. The first time when he died, and the second time with this blast deletion failure. Okay, so we do see a key as the first chest and pod, so we're not immediately bow locked.
Yeah, which that is bad news. If I was going there, I'd be sad to see that small key first chest, just because it means that I'm not getting down logic. But we'll see. We'll see how far we get before it bow locks, because we can get all the way back through Harmless Hellway in the back of pod before we get bow locked.
Yeah, and just a container heart for Aussie, which isn't a bad find, but it's definitely not what he's looking for. Still not bow locked, as we see another key.
Yep, and I think we're going to see Azure force it to bow lock him, which is nice. He knows he can full clear. This is also the most efficient mirrorless route.
Yes.
But we're just going to see him say, okay, Seed, where was the logic, and just keep it in front of him. Not that he would have lost it anyway, but this seems like a good route for Azure. And we're going to see Aussie. He is going to make his way back over. If the crabs get him again, I'm just going to, like, call it rigged.
Those crabs are nasty. They are out to get you. There's just no question about it.
Yeah, so question in chat about what does bow locked mean? It means that logically you can't progress further in the dungeon according to the items that you have without having the bow in your possession. And so it deals with the placement of items and keys, and also which tricks you use and which tricks you don't use as far as gaining access to more items.
Yeah, and the way it works in these dungeons is the game assumes that you're going to use the small keys in the worst possible way. So there are some situations where it might not feel like a bow lock because you can still get to the items, but since the game's assuming that you're going to be stupid, it does actually turn out to be bow locked. And basically what that means is that you can't find the bow there or anything that would lead to the bow.
Yeah, that's probably a better explanation than what I gave.
Well, I had to learn Ice Palace key logic recently, and that, let me tell you, is that is an interesting beast in its own right.
Yeah, no thanks. But we're I don't think we got bow locked in the front, so I think we're able to get to the back without the bow, and the right side didn't return. And did the right side have big key?
Did not, and it had only one small key, and if with only one small key there, yeah, the entire dungeon is accessible except for those two and the back. So you wouldn't be able to get to Helmsor without a bow because of the statue guy that you can shoot.
Yeah, so unless Harmless Hellway is exactly Lamp, I am sad about this because it means that bow is just a complete red herring.
Which happens.
All the time.
It's a key and 20 rupees in the rupee basement.
Yeah,
I could have lit one of those torches, chose not to. That's actually not a very difficult dark room.
Yeah, I usually light the torch just because it does save me a little bit of time. There it is. There we go.
Yeah. I suspect Azure's going to go ahead and finish pod anyway. He's not going to want to have to come back here. But that was our morph ball.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense that it would be there and in front of Lamp. But also makes a lot of sense that you would finish the dungeon while you're here. This is an opportunity for Aussie to make up a good bit of time by staying out of Pendant Thieves and staying away from Skull, which he'll have to go back to eventually.
Yeah,
but
we saw a dark item. Yeah, we saw a dark item in the Pod Dark Maze. Actually, 2 of them. So you see Azure menuing, trying to figure out exactly what he got. There's certain items in Link to the Past that don't show up, and I believe most of the SM items don't show up at all. So so if he's smart, when he gets back to SM, he will menu and see if there's anything he now has that he did not have before.
Yeah,
Oh, not gonna finish it. Okay.
that's fair. Dark Basement's kind of crappy on, what, 6 hearts?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
6 hearts green mail, you can always just get bodied by Dark Turtles. And you have 50-some items ahead of you in Super Metroid just with the power bombs you have and Morph.
And
So
finishing up Pod later, not a really long thing to do. Pod is one of those dungeons that's not really a go mode dungeon anyway, so full clearing most of it and then just doing the rest of it later. Not really going to lose them much time.
yeah, movement isn't great in A Link to the Past, whereas in Super Metroid, it's not great either, but the item density is nice, and you also don't have fanfares in Super Metroid, so you can just grab a whole bunch of stuff real quick.
And we see that he did manage to pick up 10 power bombs throughout his travels, so that's really nice. Those power bombs this early are really nice. You need 10 to get through Gauntlet if you were to go that way. Plus, there's some certain areas as he goes through Brinstar where they're just super power bomb heavy. That if you want to check everything, and he'll have to make some decisions. Oh, there's my favorite item, the space jump. So that actually opens up Gauntlet as a logical check.
Yeah, that's actually a very nice find there for Super Metroid movement. It's going to keep Azure in Super Metroid even longer, I think. Especially if he's going to follow the logic, we might see him end up over in Wrecked Ship. But I think we're going to see him stay away from that and head for Bryn Loop for now.
Yeah, and he might follow this all the way to Kraid. And the nice thing about that is it gets him the easy Death Mountain access. They don't have logical access to Death Mountain yet without a lamp or a flute. They can break back there with the glove, but this is a little quicker, I think. Plus, you get all your stuff on the way. And we see a E-Tank and a rupee, a red rupee at the back of Gauntlet. I don't think he's going to go back for those.
Yeah, and we'll see if Aussie chooses to leave Pod when he finds his Morph Ball, or whether he stays in to do Helmus Arcane. I can see it either way, but Morph is really an attractive find.
Yeah, for him, it's actually an even more difficult situation since he doesn't have that fire. Oh, he did pick up the fire rod. I didn't catch him going to Ice Rod Caves. Or sorry, to Hype Cave.
Yep,
So
got the
it's gonna be
sword
the same
too.
thing.
So he has Master Sword now, which is nice.
Yeah, so it actually
So
is
that-
maybe a better choice for him than it would be for Azure, since he would have had to do that turtle room you're talking about with Fighter Sword. It's not a fun thing.
Yeah, I don't know if in A Link to the Past NMG if Aussie skips Sankard or not, but if he does, this is exactly like an NMG, but just lampless.
Yeah, and actually, I think this is
6
yeah,
heart green mail.
I know both these runners are doing the All Dungeons tournament, and I believe this is about what you'd have for that too. So, if not, I might be off by a heart container or something. Oh, and there's those flippers, so that'll be really good news for Azure because when those flippers will lead him to his gravity suit. So, no worries that he's going to pick that up pretty soon.
And that'll also be good for Aussie when he finds that, because it'll put the gravity suit back in logic for him. And so he'll know that, okay, the gravity suit exists here in the logic, which means that it could be that Meridia is the next play.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Meridia get rushed once Aussie finds those flippers.
Okay, not much else here as Azure heads over to the Edicoons. You'll notice despite that space jump, he is going to wall jump up this because it's still faster to wall jump than space jump.
Yeah, the space jump is not the fastest way around. A little better in water than out of water, but it's at least going to be convenient for movement. And there Aussie gets his Morph Ball and is staying in Pod for now. We'll see him go do the Dark Maze, and then we'll see whether he stays in or not. If he stays in, he'd probably want to Death Warp back to the front of the dungeon.
Yeah, we still don't know what those items were. So we're still not going to, unless I catch something that I missed the last time when... Still don't know what they are. I don't think Azure's menued to Super Metroid at all, the one thing that could happen, if it were a spacer beam or a plasma beam, those do not turn on automatically because you can't use both of them at the same time, so it's a bit of a safety. And I have seen races where people have menued for some other reason and seen, oh wow, I have plasma beam that I must have picked up somewhere in a dark room.
I don't know which items show up and which ones don't in that dark room, unfortunately. That is one of the challenges of dark rooms in especially SMZ3 relative to A Link to the Past is there's a good percentage of items that you just have no way of knowing whether you got them or not.
Okay, Asti taking a death. That tells me he's death warping to the front. He's going to finish this.
Yep, that looks like, I was going to say, either carrying the play over to Catfish, which he didn't check yet, or continuing to finish Pod and knocking this out while he's here, which I think, especially given the disparity between Master Sword and Fighter Sword, makes a lot of sense for the circumstance of each of our runners, what they decided to do. Because Master Sword Turtles just doesn't suck nearly as much.
No, absolutely not.
And nice Wavegate skip there for Ajder.
And we see a Bombos, which may or may not be needed. A little less valuable since they do have an ice fire rod for Ice Palace. But it could be one of our medallions for... It could be a medallion for TR. We don't really... Probably don't want it to be a medallion for Misery Mire. It'd be nice to stay out of there.
Yeah, I actually am always really happy to find Bombos after having found Fire Rod, just because it means that I won't have to do Fire Rodless Ice Palace.
Yep. And a Master Sword.
Exactly. So that's 3 of our 4 swords we've found now.
Yeah, it's very possible Azure will never get the one at Agina's Cave, but he's perfectly comfortable doing a Master Sword Silverless should it come to it.
And Asi on his Dark Pod basement. Let's see how turtles go for him. He is moving straight for the torch.
There it is.
Fire Rod, and doesn't get bullied too badly, so anytime you survive dark green male turtles is a win for me.
Oh, for sure, especially with only 6 hearts at this point. So Azure is going to head over towards Kraid. I especially given that he doesn't have Speed Booster, I like this choice. There is a whole bunch of stuff in the Blue Burn area, but ideally, if he could have Speed Booster by the time he comes back, there's 2 extra checks in that area. The one at the Criteria Supers, and then all the way down to Waterway that he could do at the same time, and so those locations won't get orphaned.
Yeah, and I like this play to X-Ray. Didn't pan out for Ajder, but it's a good use of things that Space Jump put in logic.
Yes.
Other important things are Criteria Power Bombs, Gauntlet, the front item of Gauntlet, and Wrecked Ship Access are all kind of up red tower at this point. But I think we're going to see that play down to Kraid and to get the save and quit at the Old Man, preferentially. Because Upper Norfair is a way to access Death Mountain. And even though Death Mountain would not normally be in logic without the cross-game portals, that Morph Ball puts it in logic for our runners.
Yeah, I totally agree. That save quit spot is so valuable in Link to the Past. Not just for the mountain axis, but if he wants to get back to Norfair later. Oh, and that's a various.
Well, then that Space Jump also put Bubble Mountain in access, and I think we're going to see Azure stay away from going up Red Tower now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice if you can manage to find a way to do Phantoon last. Much easier to manage to get that in just a plain old Super Metroid randomizer than it is in SMZ3.
And so we see Asi immediately making the play to front of Gauntlet. This is not in logic in the normal logic, which is what the v11 1v1 tournament will be using. But it is an accessible play that would be in logic if this were on, say, hard logic.
One more fetch quest. Poor Asi. He's gotten all the fetch quests.
Well, It's not so bad because that's going to be coming into logic for Aussie very soon.
Yeah,
he's
for
going
sure.
to get that space jump. And so he's going to know, okay, well now I can just go do the mushroom as efficiently as possible, basically. So a lot of the logic breaks that runners will use in SMZ3, we don't tend to care about the logic, but we try to keep track of it mostly. And so it's always good when our sequence breaks come back into logic.
Yeah, sometimes, and that's where some of the logic in normal, you try and piece it back together, gets really, really interesting and kind of fun to try and piece back together. But sometimes it just gives you a headache to try and piece back together.
Yeah, I've had ones where I just ended up so far out of logic. I was like, I can't. I have no idea how we arrived here,
Yep.
where we're going, or where my flippers were supposed to be. And Ashdar has defeated Kraid for 10 arrows.
Yeah, not exactly what he's looking for there. But hey, we got a Super Metroid boss down. That's always a good thing.
And Aussie into get his flippers. And now another note, while we did see these checks from Ashdar as well, under the bridge where the flippers were, in logic, everything else here behind these gates, everything in the Bryn Reserve and at the early Supers location above Bryn Reserve, those things are all out of logic and hard gated by Speed Booster in this logic.
Which means there's a Speed Booster available somewhere before those flippers, if the runners want to try and find it.
Well, no, the flippers are fine.
You're right. The flippers are fine. Everything else was basically nothing.
Yeah, and everything else was a blank. So the runners are not considering Speed Booster as a key item right now.
Yeah,
it'll be a sweet one to find, but it's important that the flippers were at exactly that spot in that room rather than any of the others.
Yeah, exactly.
Where was that space jump again?
It's gonna come up pretty soon. I want to say it was must have been in the big pink area.
Oh, Owl telling me it was at 230 missiles. So.
Oh, 230. Yeah, thanks, Owl. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, without.
So Aussie didn't check that yet. He went to Gauntlet first.
Yeah, and 10 power bombs. No other items to make it easy to clear retro. I think we might see Aussie put that up that part of Crateria and Blue Bryn off for a ship reset later. So Aussie might not be getting that space jump for a little while.
Yeah, the big pink area as well as the Bryn area, very, very power bomb heavy in terms of usage, and there are very, very few places to get power bomb drops. The Zebs here will drop them at a very low rate, and you and I have both experienced let's get a power bomb here that we absolutely crucially need and have to wait for it because it just doesn't want to happen. And then once you get into the Blue Bryn area, there's nothing that drops power bombs, so you can get yourself in a lot of trouble if you try and check all those items.
Yeah, so I guess one thing worth noting is that we did see the mirror shield. Ashdar did not choose to grab it. Possibly because it doesn't matter, possibly because it generates a little extra lag. But one thing that screams to me is if we find the Titan's mitts, I want to know real soon whether Bombos Medallion is the way to get into Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, because we still have in the logic here, we still have the logic where you have to have something to get through Laser Bridge. That's not in V31 of Link to the Past anymore. But that mirror shield is one of those things that opens that area up.
Yeah, that would be the Laser Bridge access.
Yep.
And so with Ice Rod, Fire Rod, no Canis Samaria yet, so we'd need to be watching that. But if we find Kane and Mitts, I'd be inclined to make that beeline straight for Turtle Rock.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we do have Azure did go ahead and reset out of the Ice Beam area. I think I saw a Power Bomb pack, so nothing he really needs. And that isn't in Logic yet either, because, again, no Speed Booster. You have to Mock Ball to get there.
Yeah, and a nice point from D-Web in chat. They still do need that East Death Mountain access, which oddly is showing up a little late, so we do still need mirror or hook shot for them to get over there. So I guess we are a few minutes away. Maybe I'm just a little overly sensitive to that early ice rod showing up.
And Asi gets his now. For him, it's a tempered sword.
And
Could be a
more
nice
importantly,
advantage.
he gets up in 2.
Yeah.
A nice frame perfect jump there that we love to enjoy and appreciate in the Super Metroid community.
Okay, we do have 2 things we can check. Only one that we can get here beyond the old. But like we said earlier, the important part of this is to get that save and quit. So you can go back to. He may just do this and then go straight back to Norfair and do the checks that he can do there, since he can do everything that's in Upper Norfair right now. It looks like he's gonna save and quit and go back to the ship.
So no space jump here. We're gonna see Asi break this with early X-ray. So we're gonna see him use some deboosts here off these waivers. And because the gravity suit does not impart protection from environmental damage sources, he does have plenty of E-tanks, but still is important to not take too many spike hits, and a nice early X-ray there from Asi.
Very nice. He didn't even have any backups to help him out there. There are ways to get up there if you fall down with ice beam or bombs, spring ball, but he doesn't have any of those, so it is a very unsafe play. But he does have the 6 E-tanks, and he is very accomplished at this. So not really a surprise that he chose to go for it.
Yeah, with this number of E-tanks, I mean, I'd still screw it up, but it's something that I would consider a fairly safe play from Asi. Even if it goes off the rails, he'll usually manage to get there or bail in time, and there's always the Sloaters refill down there at the base of Red Tower. And so here, Asi's going to have the option of making that Meridia play. Now that he has flippers, we might see him do something like Kraid straight back to Meridia, but we're going to see this Varia suit here probably keep him away from that. But having both suits this early in Super Metroid is looking a lot like, okay, just go do all of Super Metroid. Just don't do a Link to the Past for an hour or so. Have some fun playing Super Metroid.
Yeah, I mean,
the
Meridia play. Yeah, the Meridia play is a really interesting one because, you know, it's not unusual for Meridia to have really good items. It's also not unusual for it to have a whole lot of junk. And depending on what's there, it might change exactly how much of an advantage this gravity suit is for Asi.
Yeah, with gravity suit showing up behind flippers where it did, I'm more a believer in Meridia in this seed than I am in a typical seed.
For sure.
Meridia very often is pretty dead space in SMZ3, but here it seems like a very reasonable thing to chase. To note, they don't have access to the back of Meridia yet, at least from the front of Meridia, from the tube side. They could flipper in from Dark World access, though, and have access to the back of it, so all of Meridia is available in logic.
Yeah, without an Ice Beam or a Speed Booster. And the Ice Beam actually, in this version, does not put the back of Meridia. Oh, there's our last sword. Hello, Tempered Sword.
Yeah, so we may not see Azure end up at Agena at any point. It was already kind of, somewhat unlikely. But now, unless he ends up chasing an item and looking for something that is not that 4th sword, we're probably not going to see him find it. Yeah, one of the changes in v11 that's being commented on in chat isn't that these things are guaranteed to show up early, especially the swords, but that Morph and Moonpearl, which we've seen show up early, are biased to show up earlier than they were in 10.2. So that's going to be something that is happening more often ongoing in these races.
Which is nice because, you know, when you get that morph super, super late, it's kind of what we talked about before, you know, with the GT morphs that we saw early on in the SMZ3. The idea is to go back and forth between the games, and when you get a super late morph ball, you know, it's like you're playing Link to the Past and then you're playing Super Metroid rather than really mixing the two games together.
Yeah, it's always nice when, you go back and forth a few times, but not too many times.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably an optimal number. I don't know what that number would be, but... Okay, now let's see where Ossie's going to go. We're going to see Azure with the wreck ship play. Very safe for him right now with those 5 E-tanks in a Varia suit, though.
Yeah, this is a free Fantoon fight. What was it? Slow, fast, mid was what Astra had earlier in his multi-category race.
Yeah, he had a very nice Fantoon kill there, so hopefully he can follow that up with another good one.
It looks like he got 8 in, or what was it, 8 or 6 on that first round? I think it was 2, 2, and 2. I think it was 8. I think I just count badly, but set up for a 3-round here.
Yep, very nice.
And converted. Say it was 8, 8, and then 3 plus 1. And Ossie needs to kill that Sova. Goes back down, snipes him, and is on his way out.
Ooh, already skipping E-tanks with that Varia suit.
Yeah, he's probably going to end up finding another one at some point, although
for sure.
I don't like that skip. I'll be honest.
Well,
it seems kind of a silly skip.
Yeah, I would give him the 7 for stand-up glitch, if nothing else, but... But to be fair, it's not unusual to end up with 12, 13, or even all 14 energy tanks just by picking up along the way and Link to the Past where you don't have a choice.
Yeah, and Ossie is going to make that play to Death Mountain, going to rescue the old man, and then probably, maybe do the other sort of early Death Mountain checks, and then I'm curious to see where he goes.
Yeah, he's got more good choices than Azure. Azure doesn't have the Meridia play available to him right now, in really or even out of Logics, and have Ice Beam or High Jump Boots.
And he does have the old man in tow. And so we'll see what the old man's got today. Just missiles. Meanwhile, Wrecked Ship hasn't turned up anything just yet. But what we see is how fast that fanfare was for Azure, which is really just the item kind of clicks up and then you clear the text box and it costs about half a second. Which is why I'm not a fan of that E-Tank skip from Ossie. I feel like you can leverage that E-Tank to more than half a second of advantage.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially since I just realized he hasn't picked up that Varia suit yet.
No, he has Varia and Gravity. He just turned them off.
Oh, he turned them off. Why
yeah.
Why?
Wait.
Why?
Don't really have a good answer for that yet. We'll see what he's intending to do.
He's got the Gravity suit. Why would he? I'm confused. There are a few situations where you turn that stuff off. Not it.
If he had grapple, I'd think he was thinking about maybe like bowling skip or something, but I really don't know about this one.
He doesn't have enough. Well, he will have enough power bombs for a Crystal Flash now if he wants to do the clip through bot wound, but there's no reason to do that because he's got the backdoor access to it. So I'm really confused.
Well, I mean, the reason is that he wants to full clear it, and he's already in Super Metroid headed up, and so it's faster to get there if you're confident in the Crystal Flash clip, but I don't think you want to lower your health this early generally. I mean, who knows? We'll see what his plan is. I'm sure it's going to become apparent at some point.
Yeah, it looks like Azure is about to leave that power bomb, but it gets him to the Magic 15, which important number, not just for the Crystal Flash possibility, but also for the Metroids at the end of the game. If you don't have Ice Beam, 15 is what you want to go in there with. Otherwise, you might have to refill.
Okay, so Ossie is getting his health down to 60, using a bunch of missiles. I'm like thinking like elevator crystal flash or something to get Main Street, maybe.
Wait, he looks like he's gonna go get that E-tank. Okay, now I'm really confused.
Yeah, this is just a baffling line of play.
I don't understand. Aussie, what are you doing?
Well, I'm sure he's revising his plan. Whatever his plan
that
was,
could be.
He's no longer on that plan. Like that was an abrupt pivot of something. And I don't know what it was. We have all of Azur's bowling here to try and decide what it was. But it'll be interesting if we remember to ask him later what exactly he was trying to accomplish there. My best guess is elevator CF to get Main Street.
Yeah, that could be.
But that's a heck of a strong play. So I'm not sure if I'm willing to put him on that, but that seems like the only rational actor decision that looks like that.
Okay, he saw what was that Crab Supers. I didn't see what was that Crab Supers. Meanwhile, Azure finds a plasma beam.
Yeah, it looked kind of like wave beam to me. It was purple, so it was probably either missiles or wave beam, and at least Aussie saw it.
I believe I saw a hook shot at the speed. Oh man, that hurts. Hook shot at Wreck Ship Reserve, and we still don't have speed booster, which means Azure is going to have to go back there to get that, because Swamp Palace is a crystal, so there's no way around getting the hook shot.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate one.
Yeah. And if Aussie finds the speed booster, he won't have to worry about that because he'll just be able to get it the first time through.
Yeah, the best thing for Azure, as much as it would feel real bad, would be speed in front of Swamp. Just because that would guarantee to even things out there.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to happen. Not that I don't want it to even out. I think Azure actually has a lead right now. But I do want to see a sweet race, close race.
Oh, absolutely.
But I just don't want him to have to go into front of Swamp without hookshot.
I mean, really, if Aussie ends up at the wreck ship before he finds speed booster, that would also even things out, but we don't know. At this moment, he's got so many other locations to choose from. He may not be prioritizing the wreck ship, in particular because of that item. A lot of people like to skip going to wreck ship until they can get all the items there.
Yeah, wreck ship, relative to other things, tends to be a fairly low-value location in SMZ3. I'm not so sure how much that persists in v11, but it definitely was a thing in v10. And also, yeah, unless you have speed and other items to make the movement cozy, it can just be a big time sink for the amount of checks you get to do, and you can get very punished. Aussie still doesn't have that space jump, which means sky missiles would also be a really miserable check.
Oh, that's a terrible one. I mean, he'd be able to get to them, but yeah, it's a much slower check without either speed booster or space jump.
Yeah, it's something where you basically need to add an extra 40 seconds into how you're calculating wrecked ship. And so that's not that's something that's going to reasonably keep someone away from making that play. Although very nice down back there from Aussie in the crab shaft. I think we're going to see a snail clip coming up here.
Oh, that's fun. This is something that's actually in logic in the hard mode, not in logic in
right side. Oh, looks like he's going for right side snail clip.
Oh,
nicely done.
Major payoff there with those boots. It says, I don't need that bomb capacity.
That is some out of logic boots right there. Those boots also behind the speed booster.
Yeah, they might not even need the boots because we do have a pendant at desert, so it's good to make every movement in Aussie's case in the Link to the Past side to be just that much faster than Azure for as long as he has those and Azure doesn't. To be fair, I suspect once Azure gets to that area, if he doesn't have speed booster, he'll clip to there too and get those boots. He's perfectly capable of doing that trick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a matter of when he gets to Zora's domain, gets that gravity.
Or he will just find a speed
We might see him go right back for that hook shot.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all.
That puts Tower of Hera in logic. I think this could be the beginning of some real divergence between our runners.
That's that's interesting, as we find within a minute or so of each other the two speed items, one for each game, each one on a different side.
Yeah, speed boost are the better of those in general, but doesn't enable a ton of extra sequence breaks. I mean, I guess it lets you spark suit and spike suit and stuff, but it's not quite as broken as hovering, I think.
Mhm.
But both are very good. both items are
Absolutely.
great.
And I don't and we won't need to see any hovering. Find that we do know where the hook shot is. Azure's going to go get it. If not soon, if not now, soon. Isn't going to check Waterway, so he's going to leave that orphaned. Also, is not going to be checking Criteria Supers because he's down to 0 power box. So he might have to come back for these checks later, or just nothing for. But yeah, I don't know how good a hoverer Aussie is, because when he doesn't have hook shot going up Ganon's tower in those so-called hover seeds, he actually does the Moldorm bounce, which is a different trick that you don't need either the speed booster or the hook shot for.
I think he's adequate enough at it, if I'm remembering right. Like, I don't think it's his first choice of things to do, but I'm pretty sure that he's comfortable with it if it comes up.
Yeah, that probably puts him on a pretty even playing field, because Azure's not the most comfortable at it either, but has learned to do it recently.
Yeah, we'll see if this is going to be an aggressive chase to hookshot, or what Azure's going to choose to do. I think we're going to see Criteria power bombs, and then it's a matter of where he goes from there. And we're going to get that ship refill to get those power bombs first, because he needs the power bomb to open the power bomb door.
Meanwhile, looks like Aussie is going to... What are you... Oh, we're going to get a... Oh, he's going to take that cape over to Spike Cave.
See, this is why we have Mind of Me tracking, by the way. Mind of Me's like, no, we already saw that. Like, just
yeah, big shout outs
pay more
to Mind of
attention.
Me for doing the tracking. I'm bad at tracking Super Metroid when it's Super Metroid by itself. I don't even try Link to the Past by itself, and trying to put them together, no. That's why we have the experts like Mind of Me doing it.
Yeah, I just sit here and talk nonsense for 2.5 hours.
And those of you that have watched me play know how bad I am at tracking my own items. So.
Oh, I'm dismal at tracking my own items. It's not even close. I mean,
tracking
track
your
one screen, let alone two.
I've said this before in Link to the Past. I mean, tracking in Link to the Past or in SMZ3, I mean, it's a skill in its own right.
That was a very nice management of a kind of a tough setup for that clip there for Azure, and he is going to go back through bowling to get that hook shot, deeming it worth chasing.
Yeah, and given that location of Speed Booster, it is entirely possible that Aussie's going to do the same thing and see that hook shot before he gets to the Speed Booster. Just depends on how and when he writes that Retro Bryn area.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, because he did the check early. He knows what two of the items are, so it's like a less valuable location. There's still quite a few things he didn't see there.
Yeah, that is a really swingy play there, as you point that out. Just because it's relatively low value for Aussie, and so it's something he is incentivized to stay away from. So that location could work out really favorably for Azure.
Now looks like we're gonna get the Skullwoods play from Aussie, so they'll get another crystal, and not a whole lot else.
Yeah,
but it is a crystal. It's something he has to do, so it's a good idea to just go ahead. I'm always for clearing crystal dungeons that you can full clear. So.
Yeah, in general. I'll agree with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there might be other locations that are valuable that also have like either crystals or Super Metroid bosses, but
There are definitely people who like to crystal chase in this, and there's a case to be made for it. But Aussie will have a much cozier moth fight here with up to 9 hearts, and more importantly, Tempered Sword, as Ashter gets his hook shot. So now, if you put all that time into going back to get the hook shot, you darn well better chase that hook shot. So I think
God, what does
we're
it even
gonna
open up
see.
yet, though? Because he can't go to Swamp yet, because he doesn't have the mirror.
Well, it's Tower of Hera.
Tower of Hera. Yeah,
It's all of East Death
Paradox
Mountain.
K, all of East Death Mountain.
Yeah.
It's late enough that it's easy to forget that they haven't been there yet. Yeah, I'm starting to think of like Hookshot Cave and like I said, Swamp, but no, we have all of East Death Mountain.
Yeah, and you don't make that play back to that location unless you're planning on getting immediate use out of the item.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You'll just be able to zip on over to Link to the Past, do a nice save and quit, and spawn back up at the mountain and go straight over there.
Yeah, good RNG in that room.
He's gonna do the flippers plays first. That'll be good news. He'll be able to get that gravity suit.
Yeah, this makes sense. The flippers showed up in a spot where he's going to want to chase those. They've been in logic for a while, and it's a pretty quick cleanup.
Yeah, and that portal takes him right by like Hylia, so very easy to go ahead and grab this item here and then just swim on down to the portal. They'll take you over to the Zora area.
Yeah, it knocks out a lot of sort of loose squares that Ashter had on his map. And
okay, so
Aussie with a very nice moth.
Not gonna actually do Zora yet.
Okay.
So not gonna get his gravity suit yet, but he is very aware of those flippers, so probably gonna chase him a little bit later. Maybe he wants to save it for a possible combination of that area with Catfish for when he gets the mirror, because we will see the mirror because you need it for Swamp.
Yeah, we have to find it at some point, although now that we have Hera access via Hookshot plus Hammer, it does open up a few more places where that mirror could show up. So there's not a lot of other things that require the mirror other than sort of the isolated mirror checks in Swamp.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to look for, at least on the Link Pass side, is based on what crystal dungeons and what pendant dungeons, what items do I need are definitely going to show up and which items are maybe not going to show up. So, for instance, this being a pendant desert, I know that there's a bigger possibility that those boots will never show up. We know where they are, and Azure will get them because he's got the speed booster, so very easily get him at Aqueduct. But, something like the mirror, knowing that mirror is show up, makes me a little more likely to try and pair that with the Catfish check that Zora area than if Swamp was a crystal Swamp was a pendant, and that mirror could still be in GT. Then we might never get that opportunity.
All right, and so we got Wave Beam from Paradox Cave, which doesn't put anything that we haven't seen already into logic.
Yeah, there are situations where that Wave Beam will put Croc in logic, but with Speed Booster, we actually don't need it.
Exactly. It was behind Speed Booster in the logic chain, and therefore we can discount that part of it. So it makes me less likely to go to Croc than I would otherwise be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Croc is kind of one of the kind of a pendant dungeon of Super Metro when you think about it, because it's an area it's a boss you don't need to do, an area you don't need to clear unless the item's there, and that's kind of a hallmark of a pendant dungeon.
Yeah, that is all of Upper Norfair.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And Ashter didn't hit the switch on his way up. Gonna use the boomerang to hit the switch now that he's up, and then okay, lots of red boom use, and we have a Hera basement.
Yeah, Ezra's not a big fan of Harapot, so he's just going to go ahead and get the big key here, which I like because, that big chest could have his other item, and then you may have to come back here anyway. I much prefer the Harapot play if it's just to get up there faster and you already have the big key.
Yeah, if you're in go mode.
Yeah, definitely if you're in go mode for sure.
Like, there are times where it makes a lot of sense to do. This is a time where it makes a decent amount of sense to just ride out the basement, get your big key, and be thorough.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things about SMZ3 is it really is a game that rewards thoroughness.
And as you're down to 3 hearts, let's see if he decides to death warp out of here or just walk out.
I'm surprised. Okay, looks like maybe he's gonna death warp. No, he's kind of back and forth about it.
Yeah, because it looks like he ran into that Moldorm on purpose.
Yeah. But now he's gonna continue to just ride it out with 2 hearts, which Hera's an early dungeon. Not too much going on here that'll hurt him, so hopefully it goes okay.
And that
Aussie doing
sword. Yeah, that could be interesting. See if there's anything there. Yeah, but as you're with that tempered sword and a hammer, Moldorm is not too bad with that item loadout.
Yeah, plus grabbing that heart that's basically not free to grab, but close. And
trying to set up the bomb jump falls down the hole that you don't want to fall.
Yeah, that 2-hole fall is an NMG classic, which is why a lot of people use the bonk strat there.
Yeah, which Azure knows how to do, but unfortunately without the boots can't do it.
Yeah.
Also going to point out he could choose to hookshot across. That's usually not a play that's made unless you also have the boots. Ooh, Aussie taking a death there. Did he get his last item? Is he death warping out?
Yeah, he got the missiles in the Maiden's chest.
Okay, and as I was talking about, Azure decides to go ahead and hookshot across anyway, because with the boots you could just bonk back and not take this fall that he just took.
Yeah,
but
good
this
news.
fall better than the two-story fall.
Yeah, good news for Azure there. That the big chest was an item, so the Herapop play, which Aussie has a little bit of a propensity to bias toward.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if we don't see Aussie Herapop when he gets to Hera. Isn't going to work out for Aussie, so Azure has to feel pretty good about finding the second item, whatever it was, in the big chest.
Okay, 1 spin and 1 slash, and that'll do it for Moldorm.
Yep, pretty clean fight. And it's just the map, but also a crystal.
Yeah, crystal number 3.
So Death Mountain didn't turn out a hell of a lot
really
there.
Didn't. That might push Azure towards those flippers. The other flippers check, so we'll see what happens here. He also still could go straight back into Norfair because he does have the Various Suit.
Mind to me, also pointing out, still Spiral Cave.
Yeah. Yep, so he's gonna go straight into Norfair. Okay. Yeah, as you're skipping both Spiral Cave and Spike Cave, those are also possibilities. So we're gonna start seeing what's in the rest of Norfair.
Looks like Aussie is maybe gonna do that back of Meridian now.
Yeah, I like that choice. Can go ahead and, at the very least, he can take care of Dragon. A few other checks he can make over here. And I'll be interested to see if Azure finds a pair of high jump boots out this way, if he'll consider going all the way down to Norfair. We know he's not going to find the gravity suit. That is not in logic in normal mode. But Azure more than capable of doing a high jump lava dive.
Yeah, I think with this loadout, without Charge Beam, Lower Norfair is a little bit of a tougher sell. And ooh, there's that Titan's Mitt. That's big, and our 4th bottle.
Yeah, a little unfortunate he finds those mitts after he did the rest of the light part of Death Mountain, but there's still a whole lot of things he can go back for in the dark side of that. So he'll at some point he'll be chasing that.
I would not be surprised to see him get to the Dark World Death Mountain stuff sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it looks like, in fact, he might be doing that right now because he's jumping back. He is going to check the cathedral item. Just some rupees. That's a very easily missed item, too.
Yeah, that's one where this routing works out really well for Azure in the sense that it gives him a convenient time to check that, because otherwise it can be one of those ones that gets a little stranded.
Yeah, and of course, with that speed booster, it makes it even easier to strand it. Just, I mean, why would you want to go back this way when you have the frog speedway to do?
And Aussie is into his Dragon fight, looking like ammo fight might be what's called for, but getting grabbed.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't have charge beam. He doesn't have speed booster, and he doesn't have grapple beam. So yeah, I think that's all he's got.
Yeah, it's just the ammo fight here, and Azure, sure enough, is going to chase that Titan's Mitt. We're an hour 15 or more into the race. We're just going to chase down logic part of the race, which seems good.
Yeah, the only, unless he finds a mirror though, one bad thing here is he's opening that spiral cave. So hopefully for him, it's nothing there.
Yeah, that's not great, but there's enough stuff going on here in Dark Death Mountain that it's worth the play.
Yeah, it's hard to not orphan something when you do this game, so it's just the way it is. You kind of have to pick and choose. Am I going to orphan something, or I'm just going to make a really much longer process of checking things?
Yeah, and Aussie does finish up his Dragon fight. We'll see what's at Space Jump. Just $50.
Yeah.
And we're not going to find out about Turtle Rock just yet. No Kane yet, so it's still not on the horizon, but it's close.
Never mind.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
Now I think we're gonna see Turtle Rock.
I think so. Oh, and a mirror.
Well then, that's
quite the hookshot cave.
That's a hot cave right there.
It really is.
I'm a fan.
So now, if he wants to, he can check. He can check the spiral cave at the end of this. He still has Spike Cave to check. Although, if I recall, there wasn't anything in it. And it is Bombo, so he looks like he's gonna, at the very least, he's gonna open this up. He may actually go ahead and clear it.
I can't imagine not clearing this right now, but
I mean, the army would be obviously, yeah. Ideally, you want to do Turtle Rock into GT, but I mean, you're already up on the mountain, and you're already gonna have to go up the mountain again. So in the end, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. And he's got a lot of good stuff to do this with. He's got the Tempered Sword. Powder is surprisingly good safety in here with all the anti-fairies that show up if he needs a refill somewhere. He's got the rods for it, so yeah, I like this choice to just go in here and do it now.
Okay, we're getting yelled at because Azure hasn't done Zora yet, so we know where Ice Rod is. He doesn't.
We know where it is. Oh, yeah. Shout outs again to Mind of Me tracking this and keeping track of those little details. Hopefully he'll do the flippers checks right out of this, because he can save a portal out there on Laser Bridge, and then he can just come back up and finish it off.
Yeah, it's a little bit less of a slam dunk play, but you just found Kane. You just got your mitts. I think it still makes a lot of sense to do this.
Oh, for sure.
And good on Azure, going this way, even with hookshot.
Yeah.
Maybe just wants to save. I mean, I can see wanting to save a heart, but no, he's still gonna make it pretty fast.
No, it's probably a mistake on his part, but you know what? It's not that much of a time loss. Fine. Okay, and Aussie gonna check the Dark Cross item here. I'm trying to remember if we saw this already or if Azure checked this or not.
We did not see this play.
And it's just a reserve tank, so nothing there for
Wow, that chomp being a jerk.
Chain chomps are the
Screw
worst.
chomps. They are. They're just really the worst. And there's that big key.
And this is actually the kind of situation I was talking about with that powder. He'll be able to, when he goes into the room with the small key and the pokies, there's those 4 anti-fairies that just rush right at you. And if you have powder, just powder them to get them out of the way, grab some fairies, and you're good to go. Looks like we're going to get the mushroom turning over here on Asi's side.
Yeah, which we know isn't going to be anything exciting, just some missiles. And
Yep.
Azure is going to fill up his health using that powder on all those anti-fairies. Man, that was a pricey
Wow.
decision to get rid of that bunny beam. Azure not playing around. He's like, hey, what's over half of my health? Let's get this bunny thing gone.
Fortunately, he can use that powder on those anti-fairies again. And does.
Yeah, pretty nice safety to have here, powder.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite safety. My favorite item to have is shot, but you know, when you talk about safeties, whether it be mail or bottles or whatever, it's that powder for me.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of powder when I end up with green mail. And let's see what's here in Mimic Cave again. Could be some good stuff, but can't be anything we need. We know where all the things we need are in terms of what the runners will need to beat the game.
Yeah, one of the nice things you could find would be like a flute. They won't actually need a flute. Oh, Ozzy finally getting that space jump. That'll help him out a lot.
Yeah, that puts Wrecked Ship even, or I guess it was, let's see, he doesn't have Morph Bombs, so the IBJ to Wrecked Ship wasn't in logic. So yeah, that's Wrecked Ship access for Aussie. And she's an Anderson. We're at 123 with no beams, but we got Wave Beam in Paradox Cave recently. But
we have Plasma on Azure's side.
Yeah, that. So we have Plasma and Wave. So
Aussie doesn't have any of those yet.
Plenty of beam.
And there's Ice Beam. So Azure's just a charge beam away from having the full beam combo. And Azure going to do this dark room, which is surprisingly easy. Not a dark room you want to try doing if you've never practiced it before. But if you know how to hold your controller, when to put the inputs in, it's kind of nice because you can just hold the next input once you get past the previous one, and really isn't too bad.
It's not too bad until you mess it up, and then it's terrible.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. Yeah. Because there's no good way to get off that platform when you mess it up.
Yeah, you're just on a painful ride through fire bars or whatever they're called. It's not a good time if you mess that up.
Okay, Azure going to go ahead and take this safety door for a couple of reasons. I'm probably going to do a mirror portal there once he's done here. Hopefully we'll do light world checks only, because that mirror portal will last as so long as he doesn't use the mirror again from the dark world or do a save and quit. Interestingly enough, because we don't kill Aga most of the time, if he dies in the dark world, that mirror portal will still be there when he spawns in the light world. And the other reason why you take it is because of that.
Yeah, taking a hit from the laser, just saying, okay, I'm just going to immediately take the second one rather than have to walk and risk it on a different laser and just make these checks a little faster. Bootless skips, not that bad, but not free by any stretch of the imagination.
And seeing nothing here, now it's just more efficient to... Oh, he's got the mirror, so we'll just mirror on out. And create that portal. And probably, this would be a really good time. Honestly, this is a great time to do the flippers. I'm trying to think of what else light world he has. Unfortunately, not having that flute, but he can go ahead and die here in that mirror portal way if he saves and continues.
Yeah, so we're seeing him save and continue and hopefully go right for Azorus. This is going to work out really well for him. If he completes the play, which it looks to me
that
like he
way.
will.
Yeah, knowing how to use that mirror portal, knowing where to go to get back to it, and knowing how it works is really important in Link to the Past Randomizer. Aussie, we're seeing, is going to go do some of those Norfair checks that Azure abandoned after he got... what did he get over here that was so good? It was something he got. Oh, Mitts, right. You got the Titan's Mitts.
Yeah, Titan's Mitts and said, okay, I'm going to go check Cathedral and then do Dark Death Mountain.
And he'll get that gravity suit, so probably go ahead and finish Turtle Rock, but that gravity suit might send him over to Meridia as well. After Turtle Rock, because that mirror portal, I assume mirror portals don't last the transition. Oh, it's not something I've actually tested.
I've not tested that either, but I have trouble expecting that they would. Nice little D-boost into Zora here.
Hey, look, it's an ice rod. I can use my mirror portal. Yeah, Aussie gonna go ahead and do lower Norfair. That's interesting. So one of the really nice things I really like about lower Norfair as a play and just in general is it's, with the exception of the GT area, which he'll go ahead and check first, I'm sure. It's a very linear part of the game, so you're not going super out of your way to do all your checks here.
Yeah, and making it cleanly through that that set of fire pillars can actually be kind of difficult, so good play there. And we're going to see Azure find his way back as soon as he can to Turtle Rock, I expect.
Oh, no, what? Oh. No, what? Oh, okay.
This
really surprises me.
Yeah, that's quite a call.
I mean, nothing wrong with the Ice Palace play in general. I just really take advantage of that mirror rather than trying to do something different. That mirror portal now gone. Oh wait, or is it? Because if he dies in the Dark World, yeah, I actually don't think that mirror portal is gone. So you can go ahead and do Ice Palace and take a death after he's done. I believe. I mean, he has to do it as long as he doesn't actually use the mirror. Or save and quit.
Yeah, he didn't complete Aga, so he should be able to save and continue to Death Mountain. So, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at the play just because, I mean, Ice Palace isn't the most fun, but I think this could work out.
Oh, and what's really cool here, we're going to see this is a newly approved by the Link to the Past Randomizer Racing Council, the Icebreaker. So if you've not seen this before, or he could die, but he'll start out, yeah.
If he goes for that.
It looked like he was going to, because he went into the switch room, and what you want to do is you want to flip that switch so that you still have the switch on the right place. And then he'll go ahead and go do that Icebreaker play. And Aussie in the Mire area, which is a good call on his part to go ahead and do this now while he can. Finds a Book of Eudora, which we may not... I don't think we're going to need that. Between the two runners, we pretty much have everything. So-called Nomo.
Yeah, we can... If we take the superset of the runner's items, we can just go complete the game. But they, of course, are going to continue looking for things.
Yeah, and it might be a while before either of them actually gets into an actual go. Okay, so here he is. He did flip that switch. A little better health coming into this room. Okay, so I don't fully understand how this works, but basically it's, I believe they're calling it like a door clip, and he's going to go ahead and lay this block. And then if he lays it in the right place, he's going to be able to walk right through this little barrier here.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get it right.
And just as
Oh.
he's running out of magic.
There, he popped right through.
I am a little concerned about this magic situation, though. There's not a whole lot of places to... in the vanilla game, you know, Man, it's going to skip that item. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have seen what the stun prize is, but ooh, there's a small decanter drop in the blue jelly table.
Well, that'll help us.
That's a nice drop.
I don't know. Yeah,
He has bomb bombs.
In the regular game, those pen gators will drop, I believe, are in the magic drop table, so you're always going to be able to get your magic refilled. And of course, the drops don't work that way in this, so... he's just going to... Okay, I see. He's just going to go mode this.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm looking at his items. Yeah, he's got a... Yeah, you know what? I think he's just calling this go mode, just in general. Because, I mean, look at his item count. He's got just about everything he needs. I mean, boots would be nice, but he may not pick them up now that he's essentially declaring go mode, I think.
Yeah, yeah. If he doesn't need boots, he's in fine shape now that he got that ice rod and the gravity suit.
Whereas Asti, on the other hand, absolutely needs to get that hook shot, which means he's going to need to get that speed booster. And is taking an unfortunate dip into Misery Mire.
Yeah, this is... I mean, 130 or even sub 130, electing to be in go mode and having all the items you need in SMZ3 is a very, very good time.
Yeah, and the funny, and that's kind of a funny thing in SM3, because that go mode can sometimes, you know, I've seen it happen to you. I know it's happened to me, where you just suddenly look up and it's like, oh wait, I have the things I need. You know, because, you know, if you're used to Link to the Past by itself, like if well, this might be a bad example, but the flute, for instance, if Misery Mire is a required dungeon, you know, normally you would need the flute. But SMZ3 takes that away because you can get there from Lower Norfair, as we're seeing Asi do.
Exactly, and so we're going to see Azure head for his portal that he left, go finish Turtle Rock, and then really just needs to finish up, I guess, needs to get back to Pod.
Yep.
Needs to do Swamp.
Yep.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously,
I mean, Ridley,
Dragon, but he'll be able to backdoor to Dragon, so it'll make that super quick. The only thing I'm wondering is I don't know what his ammo count is. We have not seen Charge Beam.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't recall how his ammo situation is.
Yeah, the ammo count that you're looking for, at minimum, is a 40 missile. It's not unusual in SMC3 to have just such a huge number of missiles that, you know, that's the actual super count needed is going to go down. So for every super missile you don't have, you'll need 3 missiles, 3 missile packs.
And Asi, meanwhile, is damaging himself down on one of those little fireballs in the Meyer Big Room. And deciding, nope, Meyer's not for me right now. Doesn't yet have his Cane of Samaria, so can't finish the dungeon. And there's that portal. So yeah, Azure was astute to know that would persist for him through that ice play.
Ahead of us, because, you know, we were wondering about that ice play, and it took us a second to figure it out. So very, very well done on his part.
Yeah, and I'm with D-Web, learning how to get to that ledge today. I only know how to get to it from jumping down from the top. So I would have totally taken a long way around. And Asi is farming some supers here. Doesn't have a good way to farm in Lower Norfair, so good call.
Yeah, I'm looking at Asi's ammo at 85-25. If Azure's similar to that, he's not... doesn't have enough ammo yet.
Yeah, Aussie is 4 super packs away.
So yeah, I mean, and to be fair, the two runners have checked some very different locations, so it may very well be that Azure is a lot closer than we're thinking. And now it's just a matter of what order do I want to do things in.
Yeah, whereas Aussie's going to full clear this Lower Norfair, which, to be fair, is not that different from not full clearing Lower Norfair.
like
There's
I
not
said.
that many checks that you save on.
Yeah, like I said, super linear. I like doing the lower, like a lot of times with Gravity Suit, if you already have Varia, you kind of have this choice: do I do Lower Norfair or do I do Meridia? Lower Norfair being a lot more linear than Meridia is, I will often make the choice to do Lower Norfair because, yeah, you're not going. You know, this right here is as far out of the way as you for the what I like to call the mouse missiles of Mickey because we don't want a certain company to come after Speed Gaming. And we're going to see the swamp play from Azure. And he'll probably just go mode this as well. You might check a few chests on the way, but or might just not even check anything.
I'd expect potentially first chest, big chest if the big key shows up in the first chest. Drown chests maybe, and waterfall chests definitely.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Definitely not going to the left side.
Yeah, drown chests are kind of iffy for me because Azure doesn't have boots. It depends how on top of his ammo counts he is, and how he feels about that.
Yeah, and we might see him do another new strat that we're seeing called the Diver Down, which actually makes that a lot faster check. And makes it so you don't have to actually flood that room. So you might choose to do that to make that check.
Well, the room's already flooded.
Oh, unflood the room. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say you have to drain the room.
Yeah, you have to, yeah. Would save him from draining the room, but he's not even checking that first chest. So my guess he's not even gonna do that.
Yeah,
so it may just be the waterfall chest would be my guess, and of course you might get an item on Arcus, as I'm searching for the right boss name.
It's one of those eyeball guys. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I've been commenting the Randomizer portion of the Link to the Past Randomizer League, and that just starts messing with your head. So
that sounds horrible. So good on you.
Well, commentating isn't that bad. It's playing it that sounds horrible to me.
That's fair. To commentate, it's not all that different, I suppose. And Aussie looking for supers, but all these Zebos are handing out as big health drops.
Yeah, at 25 supers, he'll if he's full, if he has all of them. Oh, we are going to see it. Okay, he's going to want to have. He's going to need 30 missiles to make up for those missing supers. So again, use of the Canis Samaria. And you know what? I mean, I think that was worth for him because, his heart count was pretty low, and that's just going to give him extra safety.
So how does that one work? Because it looked like he ended up in a different lair.
Yeah.
And I thought that those were generally classed as major glitches.
Yeah, it's another one of those ones that we've done. And to be fair, the NMG group, both that and the Icebreaker, the NMG group has said, no, we're not allowing them. But the Randomizer group decided they would allow them. So, yeah, I don't fully understand how it works. It's just Canis Samaria just seems to be a nice, really broken item, a lot more broken than we thought. You could also do that with bombs. So, yeah, I'm not going to try and explain it because I like what Metroid MSG is saying in chat. You put a block in a spot and pray.
I mean, that appears to be one way of doing it, but I think it's probably a little bit better directed.
Yeah, for sure.
Aussie is mindful of the fact that he doesn't have charges, going to pick up that missile pack.
Yeah, I like that.
And I don't know that, I agree with Link. I don't know that makes Canis Samaria more broken. It's just one more thing that the already broken Canis Samaria does in the already broken game of A Link to the Past.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
This game, the Link to the Past even works as a reasonable looking Super Nintendo game is kind of a miracle.
To be fair, a lot of those glitches, we specifically used the Japanese 1.0 version so we can have those glitches. A lot of them were fixed in the version that we got in the US. So
Don't call out our hypocrisy, Tracy. We are going to play on the first release of the game with all the glitches, and then we're going to complain that the game is irreparably broken. That's what we do.
Sounds like a great plan.
I refuse to acknowledge the nonsense of this.
Okay, I was just gonna go. Looks like he's gonna go do his Dragon.
Yeah, this backdoor Dragon, while we're not just like talking nonsense that is tangentially related to what's going on, we can comment on the fact that Ashdar is making progress toward finishing the game.
Okay, so his ammo count, he's got 40 supers, so not quite there yet. His missile count is not going to make up for the 20 supers he's missing. So and I think that part of this play may very well be for him to see, okay, exactly where am I in ammo, because it is, I know the tracker that you and I both use has an ammo tracker. I never use it. I don't know if you use it. It's certainly not something you put on your screen. So
absolutely not. And yeah, I was gonna say, you're not leaving those missiles, Ashdar.
No,
just go grab Precious. They are precious right now.
Yes, they are.
They're very precious. You want those.
Okay, I'm seeing. No, 80 is not enough. So he's missing 20 supers. So that means he needs 60 missiles to make up for those supers. So this is not enough because he needs 40 missiles to begin with. So yeah, no, not quite there yet. He's getting close. If he can get to 100 missiles, he'll have just enough. 95 actually technically would do it, and I know this is something. I remember him playing a seed where he and I were discussing, does he have enough ammo? And I did the math, and it was one of those things. He had to kill the Zebs with his missiles, destroy the glass in Mother Brain 1, refill, and then can't miss a shot pretty much on Mother Brain 1 or 2. So
yeah, and so we could see him go that way. I expect we'll just see him go and finish Ganon's Tower and get his ammo there. But pretty clean Dragon there. Gonna be on his way back out of Meridia. Now,
on the other hand, if he runs into Charge Beam, then the ammo becomes completely irrelevant because he's got more than enough if he has Charge Beam.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, him having all the beams versus Aussie having none of the beams. It would be a huge advantage if Ashdar finds Charge Beam, although not an advantage he needs being ahead at this point. But I don't think we're going to find that Charge Beam.
Nah, not
unless Aussie finds it.
Yeah, or I mean, he could just run into it. And I guess with the new logic, Charge Beam not being required for Ridley anymore means, I believe, the main consequences. I assume that Charge Beam will be able to be in GT. So
yeah, that is entirely reasonable. I don't think Charge Beam is part of the Croc or Ridley logic, especially Ridley, because I don't think it ever was in the Croc logic.
Yeah, not for this, I don't believe.
But yeah, it's so many different randomizers that like it's hard to keep them all straight all the time.
So true. Yeah, and it looks like Azur's gonna go ahead and finish up Pod. Meanwhile, Aussie is doing that Croc play. So yeah. Oh, didn't quite have him down. There he goes.
Push him back a little further.
Yeah, and Aussie is just getting further and further from where he needs to be, which is the Retro Brin Speed Booster and the hook shot over at Wreckship.
Yeah, which this is just a consequence of doing that sequence break to Gauntlet rather than doing the Brin Loop stuff first and just not having power bombs and never getting over and making that play. So the Gauntlet break rather than getting that space jump early seems to have been one of those things that's just gonna kind of spiral out of control.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario, he does the Retro Brin stuff before he goes to the Wreckship. Fortunately, being that Fantoon is something he has to do, I foresee that perhaps he does Fantoon first and then clears out the wreck ship and then, realizes, shoot, I absolutely need that speed booster.
Yeah, I think if I'm Aussie and I'm that late to the Power Glove, that I'm trying to avoid doing those extraneous plays if I can.
Yep.
And I mean, it seems like now he's kind of resigned to, okay, well, I'm out of good in-path things, so I'm going to do the garbage thing like Croc.
Yep.
And so he knows he's in a bad spot. I don't know what his approach to dealing with that bad spot is.
Meanwhile, my suspicion is that Azure's probably going to do go mode these last dungeons as much as possible. He could probably get a bunch of super missiles likely in GT, but he is going to have to get more than he has right now. And we still don't have a lamp, so we're still going to have to do this in the dark.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned something about Sandpit Lamp, but I didn't see that.
Asi
I'm
might
not
have checked
sure.
the sandpit, so maybe.
Good Dark Turtles from Ashdar.
Yeah, using that fire rod. I always love going when they go through this room in the dark and the way those anti-fares just kind of float down from there, and that's all.
Yeah, some of the dark rooms look really cool with what does spawn and what doesn't spawn. Yep. And I agree with you on that one. I think that one's a pretty nifty one because you the only things you can take damage from are the things that you can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
And good Helma King fight there for Ashdar. And Asi is going to grab his mirror shield.
Yeah, not sure he grabbed that on purpose, but he has one now.
Whether he wanted it or not, he's got the mirror shield.
Okay, so now the question is, does Azure go do GT first, or does he do Lower Norfair first? Lower Norfair, he could take the portal to Upper Norfair and make his way that way. But maybe he finds, I don't know if it'd be worth even activating the fluid if he found it, though. So I'm not sure. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, I feel like because charge can be in GT, charge could speed up the Lower Norfair appreciably. So I probably just go do GT here.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
But at the same time, maybe in Lower Norfair you stumble into boots. So there's a case either way. I like the GT play. It looks like that's what Ashdar likes as well.
Plus, he might get his ammo that he needs here too. So he's pretty darn close. Even if he just picks up enough missiles.
Yeah, you'd really like another super pack or two, but he's in that situation where it's basically, okay, if I get anything and I have to make it work, I can make it work. And looking at like a good time like he's going to be putting up, you take your chance at times like that.
For sure.
It's not every seed that you have an opportunity at like a 2-1x sort of time. So we'll see if this GT torch is the big key, if Ashdar survives to make it there.
Oh, nice play
there
with that hook shot, using those iframes, that shot that would have killed him.
Yeah, he was going to use the mirror, I believe, thinking about that, but didn't have time out of the menu, I think, to get the iframes off the mirror. I think he would have gotten sniped by that flame and decided he had to go with using the hook shot and was able to get it off. So that was pretty tight.
Yep, and unfortunately for Aussie, he is going to go ahead and do the rest, just like we said. I mean, to be fair, I think this is the right call for his situation, but unfortunately, he's not going to be happy with what he finds. There's some more missiles.
100% agree with the call. And Ashdar, using his low health to his advantage, going to use the death warp and
Yep.
not do the full right play or do
Yeah.
the continued right play. Just go find out what's on that torch.
Yeah, if this is the big key. Oh, and it's not, so he's good to go. It's
All
just
right,
power bombs. He doesn't even want those, so if it had been like super missiles, he might have been sad about that. But nope, just power bombs. We don't need those anymore.
Yeah,
lots.
I would have appreciated charge beam or supers there to like get the I'm sad but not really.
Yeah. There's some of that. Yeah, but it's not the.
There's
big
a lot
key.
more relief than sadness in that.
Yeah, if that had been the big key, that would have been just the boost to his mind could be just and there's charge beam.
Yo, let's go.
We are now in go mode, and that thought you had earlier when you said, well, knowing that charge beam could be in GT now, let's do that first, make my lower Norfair better. Yeah, he's not gonna be checking anything else after he gets that big key. And silvers.
All right, well, got him.
We got all the good items, all those nice little luxuries. Except maybe a mail upgrade. We are still on green mail after all.
Yeah, nice 9 heart green mail go mode. Because, why not?
Why not?
I swear this is not co-op. This is a lot more like a co-op loadout than,
it really is.
Than a 1v1 loadout. But
yeah, you and I both played the co-op where Charge Beam was at the Wreck Ship Reserve and is like, do I get it? Well, it's co-op, so I skipped all those supers, so yeah, let's go get it.
Yeah, whoever's ahead gets to go get Charge Beam.
Yep.
Yeah, Aussie did find his blue mail. I'm trying to remember where it was.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, apologies to chat. I actually have not been counting for the big key guessing game. We did see a few numbers floating up there. We don't use the bot here, so hopefully Mind of Me, our hero, coming up with the number 12 was the winner.
All right. The important thing is that Ashdar has the big key, not where it was. It was not on the torch, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. Or in tile room, for that matter.
Now Ashdar going to be able to save some arrows on his way up GT.
Yeah, he...
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I guess... I guess if the BMOS hits you in the middle of the ferry refill, you still get the full refill. So that's something I didn't know. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, today we learned. Yeah, this is far and away Ashdar's to lose.
Oh, for sure.
I can't imagine Ashdar losing this from here, but it is Ashdar and he's been running super hot today, so maybe he does it.
Yeah, he's made a lot of really good decisions. I mean, to be fair, Aussie's made a lot too, but finding that gravity suit so much earlier, and it's funny the way these things work in this game, because sometimes those sequence breaks that feel really good at the time just end up costing you time, because he's cleared, I believe, most if not all of Meridia, which as you're basically backdoored into Dragon, that was it.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that Ashdar is going to be able to skip that we saw Aussie check for us so that we know what's there, and it wasn't Aussie doing it out of kindness of his heart. He's still looking for speed booster and hookshot, really looking for hookshot, but and Kane for that matter, and so just didn't get to the right locations at the right times. And
that's how Randomizer works. I mean, that just rando be rando, as people often say.
Yep. SMZ3 races are close until they're not.
Yep.
Sometimes they end up close. Sometimes they end up as just double full clears because something ends up in a crappy spot. But otherwise, it's who gets to the crappy spot first,
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
or who checks the right not crappy spots, which is kind of what this one was.
And it's interesting to see, with the worlds combined being so big, you don't see this in the separate randomizers, where the wreck ship play that Ossie's doing right now, Azure did like an hour ago. Just not something that happens in either one of these games separately because they're so much shorter by themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really interesting of Azure to take the right conveyor there in the Fusta Bridge room. Not sure why, but maybe it was to manage the enemy patterns a little better. But deciding that it's worth the magic and health refill here and waiting out the timer.
Yeah, I know the story behind it. I didn't realize that it actually started being called after Fusta himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that maybe don't know, it's both a Super Metroid, maybe more Super Metroid, but also does Link to the Past. Player going by the name of Fusta, also known as Andrew, who was doing a one-hit KO in Link to the Past, and thought he was fine until the bridge was gone, and he walked right off of it.
Feels bad.
Yep.
But, everyone's going to have stuff like that happen. Nice Moldorm 2 for Azure, and he's going to be on to his Agatu fight. But also a reserve tank. How lucky.
Yeah, just what we need.
Just what he wanted. But no, he got Charge Beam, which gives him full beam combo, which is the real prize out of this GT.
Oh, for sure.
The extra heart isn't so bad. Silver arrows obviously appreciated, but he did have tempered already, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, silver's in charge the biggest prizes here.
For sure. Okay, and we got our Aga 2 fight. Nice double there. Unfortunately, getting a whole lot of singles. These patterns are not great. There we go. Finishes them off, and Ossie about to get the bad news of where that hook shot is. And just runs right out. And knows he has to find a speed booster. Alright, for the runner of Azure's caliber, the difference between Tempered Sword and Gold Sword, pretty negligible. There is a definite difference between the two, but the best runners they just don't care. They can still get this done just as quickly, and Azure definitely be counted among those.
Yeah, we're gonna see a tempered 1-in-1 a lot of the times from runners of this caliber. It's definitely something that can get messed up. But he is on to phase 3 already, getting some bad teleports here.
Yeah, and I don't believe anything's changed to this. The in Link to the Past by itself, the number of teleports as well as the number of blue balls from the Aga plays are standardized. But in SMZ3, they're not. So when Ossie comes into this fight, he's going to get a different Ganon fight.
Yeah, it helps add to the frustration with these teleports. And yeah, we found those arrows.
Yes, we did.
They were comfortably placed, and good on Azure getting the torch glitch. Doesn't really need it with the silvers. Nice silverless hit there. Getting another silverless hit, because why not? And one more shot. We'll take Ganon out, pegging him with an extra just for good measure. So G's in chat for Azure. And he's looking at... Could he get a 2-0x out of this?
He's got to do
No,
Ridley.
he still has to do Ridley.
Is that Ridley? Yeah, I was starting to think that, but
Yeah.
he's gonna
I'd
get a
say
really
that
good
is
time.
215, 216.
I mean, sub 230 is good, and just
Yeah.
super good. He's gonna blow that away. So it's a very impressive run by Ashter.
Yeah, it's very rare to see things that end with 21x or 20x. I think 209 is the current best time.
Is that where we're at? Yeah, I mean it's
I don't actually know anymore.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, world records being something that in a randomizer setting just don't have the same kind of meaning, but it's still something it's kind of neat to keep track of.
I'll say, still have to play well.
Yeah.
Still have to, have your execution and the seed line up well.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really comfy lower north measure. The only thing he doesn't have is attack, but with that plasma beam, they don't really need it that much.
But yeah, this is a rare type of seed where things lined up like this. I don't know what Azur's best is, but nice chronic boost here. But this might even be in contention for Azur's best time.
It may very well. And Asi not going back over to the Retro Brinstar area is not going to pick up his speed booster here in Ice Palace.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable. Again, it's not like Asi's been making bad calls. He just got pretty unlucky early with the crab pattern, and that situation is kind of cascaded for the past 2 hours.
Yep, that crab pattern stopped him from getting his gloves early. He ended up doing some other things. Did manage to get an early gravity suit, but unfortunately that just led him astray a little bit. And you'll see Azure doesn't even need to check the GT area. Just gonna go straight up. Making Lower Norfolk even more linear than we were talking about it being.
Yeah, you get to skip Mickey Mouse, the escape, PB's a shame. Some things that take a few seconds here and there. You get to skip the GT area.
Yep.
But realistically, a lot of the stuff wasn't that far out of path anyway, so it's not like it cost a ton to check it.
Right. Yeah. So you being a pretty much having played this from the beginning, so when Azure gets out of Ridley, he's going to have a couple choices on how to get back to Mother Brain. Do you go back, do the reverse amphitheater, and go take the portal out, or do you go back over to the portal at Death Mountain, and then you're going to save and quit to the ship at that point?
With Azur's loadout, if I have 10 supers and 4 tanks, I go amphitheater, but it depends how many supers I have to get that green gate glitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. And then if I have sufficient energy that there's really no way for me to screw it up.
That's reasonable.
If I'm worried that I'm going to have to take it safe, or worse, I may just die in amphitheater or something, then it makes a lot of sense to just carry through the escape, maybe opportunistically check a couple things, which Azure wouldn't do here with this loadout. I guess the only thing he could really find that he would want would be high jump boots.
Yeah. Yeah, we have not seen those high jump boots yet.
Now, Azure is using some number of supers, so it might be that he doesn't want to do that green gate glitch going back. We'll see.
Yeah, Ridley should be down. There you go.
Stopping at 8, I'm not sure.
That's an interesting number. I mean, that's enough to do. I mean, 1 is enough technically to do that green gate glitch. It has 13 now. 4 energy tanks is maybe not as safe as it could be, but I mean, it's enough, especially with space jump.
Yeah. I definitely am not a fan of leaving a super there in Ridley's drops
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, just because Green Gate Glitch, sure, I mean, you should get it in the first 3 tries, but it's so stochastic that, you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, Green Gate Glitch is. I always talk about this. You know, I've seen really, really good run. Some of the best will just, you know, it'll just leave them just for a little bit, and then just as mysteriously as it left, it'll come right back. And it's hard to think. You know, when you're this far ahead in the race, do you really want to gamble on that when it's not going to be that much longer to just go out the regular escape? But we'll see what Azure decides to do.
Yeah, nice plasma management on the Disquiga and the iframes to get that Wasteland Speedball there by Azure. It was well executed.
Yeah, he's losing more energy to these key hunters, so I think he's just gonna. No, okay. Well,
No,
I was about to say that
he's going in.
He's going for it.
He was tracking his health, seeing what his situation was.
Okay, he makes it through this part. Okay.
As Aussie drops into his cold stare fight with half magic for Ice Palace, a little cozier. See if we
And
get some
that
poke
sword.
dashes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Cold Stare never knew it was gonna hit him.
Oh, and Azure's going this way, which is interesting. So he's not committing to the gate glitch. Is he going to go via GT or just up? That's
a really good question. Like
Yeah.
his health is not great. So I mean, the GT fight isn't, but oh, of course. Let's see. Okay, yeah. He's going for it.
Okay, so we're going for it. This is. No. It was an
There it is.
interesting choice to take that route, but gets his green gate glitch, is going to be able to take that Mire portal, and is in good shape. It's going to be able to reset to the ship and go straight to Torian.
So right here, he's gonna save and quit, and then just do a reset, and there you are.
So, meanwhile, we have Aussie making a play. Where is Aussie going right now? Yeah, Smith Chain is left. What else is over this way? I think
Yeah,
he
that's
got
right.
everything out of Thieves already.
Yes, he did.
He did
I think.
stall. There's not a whole lot over here, so Smith's Chain seems likely.
Yeah, it does. Or he doesn't have a mirror, so oh, there we go. He's grabbing the Smith, which is not a fun. I mean, the Smith Chain is bad enough normal. You can just mirror, but without the mirror, this can get painful.
Yeah, this to me looks like one of those checks where Aussie's swinging for the fences on one of his last chances of, okay, mirrorless Smiths is something that Azure is not likely to have pursued this early.
Sure. And to be fair, I mean, you know, we had go mode for Azure pretty darn early. Go mode minus ammo, and he just managed to run into that charge beam.
Yeah, question about Azure passing on the ship refill. I think that's actually a very astute choice right now. He doesn't have high jump boots to do baby skip, so he's going to want to drain his health out anyway. Now this is going to be interesting, taking the Metroid grab here.
Yeah, I don't think this was on purpose.
I was gonna say, I don't think
that. Okay, he should be fine now.
Yeah, that was a little.
That was dicey.
Yeah, dicey is a good word for it.
The thing is, though, when you go through, I mean, he essentially has a save at the ship, so it's no different than if he had just saved the ship without a refill. Of course, you know, obviously, normally in Super Metroid you can't do that, but yeah. So no baby skip. He's gonna have to get the refill anyway. So once he gets through this, he'll have a very quick baby cutscene because it's just gonna grab him and, you know, he'll lose the energy and he'll just move on.
Yeah, and his ammo's in fine shape because he did get that charge beam. So, doesn't need the ammo refill, didn't need the health refill.
He's going to go ahead and damage himself down even more here.
And hammer pegs for Aussie.
Well, super missiles. He doesn't have charge beam yet, so he's gonna grab them.
Yeah. No charge. Super's always welcome. And Ossie's gonna get his purple chest and go turn it in, and we'll see what's there.
Okay, there we go. There's that refill.
I guess the big story with this race was missing that glove for Ossie, and then getting that early gravity suit actually also really ended up hurting him. Just put him into a Meridia that he didn't need to be in. Got him boots that went nowhere.
And now we're going to get a desert check, which is unfortunate. It might be a while before he gets back to that retro Bryn area, which is where he needs to go.
I mean, once you've left it this long, I mean, you don't know your opponent's just about finished in this.
Yep, you
so
have no idea where your opponent is.
Yeah, you're just committing to basically last locationing those spots and hoping that you get an advantage from not having had to ever go there because things aren't going your way. And we know obviously that's, going to end up being punishing, but the logic behind the play is that if it's there, I've already lost and I'm playing to win, not playing to get second by 30 seconds.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, these are not bad choices. They're just, unfortunately not the right ones for this seed. And that's, that's just a part of Randomizer, whether it be the full-on SMZ3 or either one of these separate.
Yeah, this is a seed that lined up very well for Azure and one that broke badly for Ossie. And it could very easily have gone either way, which is why this is a compelling matchup.
For sure.
And so, sorry, go ahead.
Going for the stand-up. So far, so good on it.
Yeah, stand up with this loadout, especially with X-ray scope. Very, very safe.
Yep.
I guess I shouldn't say that until Azure's through it, because...
That's fair.
Azure has not had a run of great luck lately, so this seed is really making up for a lot of recent bad breaks for Azure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, Ossie reflexively going for desert spin speed, trying to menu to lamp, and not having lamp. Don't worry, man. I saw you with that spin speed. It was nice.
Yeah, who knows where that lamp actually was? We never did. Oh, that's right. We talked about that. It might have been the sand pit now. I just don't know. I didn't see it. There we go. Mind me with the knowledge at the right sand pit.
Mind to me says right sandpit. I believe
I trust Mind to me.
She's doing great. Great tracker. Knows where things are. Knows why runners aren't doing the things that we want them to be doing. It's because they don't have the items to do those things yet most of the time. Yeah, much more on top of it than most of these seeds. Even if I'm playing, has a better handle what's going on for me than I do.
All right, very nice stand-up from Azure as he finishes up and just needs to go through the escape. Not having high jump boots. Yeah, this is where I miss high jump boots the most, but he'll be fine without them.
216 is obscene.
Isn't it though?
This is a dumb time. I hope this is Azure's PB in this game and that he doesn't have a dumber time on record, because holy gosh, this is an obscene time in SMZ3. But yeah, if you haven't yet, follow Mind of Me, our tracker. Follow Azure, follow Ossie. They're all awesome.
Oh,
Azure and
absolutely.
Aussie doing lots of A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, and the combo.
Yeah, both of
Aussie
them
might be headed for Blue Bryn.
and both of them playing in both the multi-category tournament for Super Metroid and the All Dungeons tournament to the past. Okay, looks like Aussie is probably going to get a speed booster as Asher is going to fit. Never a good feeling when your opponent finishes before you're even in go.
Yeah, that's how a lot of the weeklies go.
Yeah.
Is I'm looking
Yep.
for go mode by the time one of these fellas finishes,
Pretty much.
or like hoping I'm in
And,
GT by that time.
Well, anyway, as you're finishing up with an official SRL time of 2:16:35, GG's for Azure. Don't know whether this is a PB or not, but very, very well done race. And looks like Ossie's decided he's not going to finish this one out, and I can't really say that I blame him for that. So hopefully we can get these guys both in for an interview and talk a little bit about the seed.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna see him find his speed.
Yeah,
Down
looks like
here, and
he's
just
heading that way.
Kind of know. But yeah, this was a really good race, really interesting, and basically for the first 90 minutes, it was kind of anyone's race.
Yeah, absolutely. And joining us is Ashter. GG's, that was a hell
It was a hell, yeah.
Yeah, I think Maniacal may be a little bit jealous of that time. I know I am.
No,
That was a PB.
It was a PB?
That was a PB. Nice. I wasn't sure
Nice.
if you had better. I was like, it's got to be close. That was a really nice time.
It was my previous PB was actually 224.
Okay.
Nice.
So
So you blew it away.
Yeah, I was in the 224 crowd, but now I've been blown out of the water again.
Well, hey, I haven't even gotten a sub 3, so you guys are all ahead of me. And welcome in Aussie. GG, sorry, yeah, that speed booster, hook shot, yeah, just not in great places for you.
Yeah.
Just that. It was every single part of the seed.
Yeah, it started with the stupid crab at Ice Rod Cave, and it just kind of cascaded from there.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a late Ice Rod Cave off a crab death, and then a failed Ancilla for the fake flipper splash delete on the backup, and like everything that could have broken wrong for Aussie kind of did.
Yep. So I only just now found speed.
Wow,
And that
really?
Deluxe hookshot and probably mirror. And Kane.
Yeah,
There's
Mirror
only
and
3
Kane
items.
were basically side by side in Hookshot Cave.
Yep.
So the story of this one was really the crab missing early glove, and then you ended up getting your gravity suit early, and then that kind of led you on the wrong path through Meridia.
Yeah, I believe the only thing we really saw in Meridia were and apparently a lamp that you chose not to pick up in Bright Sand Pit.
Yep. Everyone. So this is kind of my usual routing, where I go pink Bryn and don't have power bombs for blue, so I put that off for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
fair.
Have been there, and that's basically exactly how I would route that if I end up down pink and don't find a third power bomb pack or something else like screw attack or speed or something to save power bombs.
Yeah, or even just regular bombs.
Completely reasonable play. It just punished you about as hard as it could of this seed.
And the worst thing is that I couldn't show off my new trick.
Oh no! What new trick did
If
you
you were
have?
wondering why I was taking off my suits in Norfair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing that up. What was going on there?
Elevator CF or?
No, you can use a reserve tank and a power bomb to get into Upper Norfair with no other movement items.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. How does that work?
You damage boost off the flame gun. But technically, you could use the heat damage, but it works based on the reserve tank timing out your power bomb or morph bomb. until after it explodes. So you get a max height bomb boost.
Now I wish we could. Yeah, I wish we'd seen that. Would have been fun. Always like to see that new tech.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. We were like, what's he setting up for? All I could think was elevator CF to Main Street, that you were just like really into breaking Main Street to be swaggy.
Yeah,
but then you used all your missiles, and I was thinking, well, that's not it.
Yeah, I was thinking the crystal flash to bot wound, but I'm like, why? You can backdoor Dragon? You know? So, yeah, we were both wrong, it turns out. So, Azure, in your case, what was he saw that hook shot on the wrecked ship? What was your thought process at that point? What led you over towards a retro burn at that point?
It's a pretty common loop to do for me. Like, if I need to route, like basically, if I want to use SM to get my mountain save and quit point, when I first go to SM, I tend to do Brinstar, and then go down to Red Tower. And then that still leaves Red Tower and Blue Brinstar unchecked. Yep. So if I want to do Wreck Ship, then that loop is a good way to get back to Zalva.
Okay.
I don't
One other
always...
thing I was... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't always do it like that, but that comes up pretty often when I want to get the Death Mountain portal, and I don't already have access to it. I mean, I could have done it, but it seemed more efficient to do it this way.
Yeah.
But I was also I also like specifically wanted to go Wreck Ship earlier because of Space Jump showing up.
Sure.
And even though Varia showed up, I still felt like following Space Jump was a decent call, and it might get me able to skip some upper Northfair stuff maybe if I could put that off. So I was really hoping that would pay out. And then when Hookshot was there, I was just like, okay, well, I feel like a really obvious play is to go Northfair once you get that Varia, and if the speed booster is along that path, which is like the path that, you know, I think he would be most likely to go first, then that puts me at a disadvantage. So I'm going to try and find speed booster elsewhere.
So, and then the next thing, so you found those myths in Norfair, and you went straight back over to Dark Death Mountain after basically finding nothing on the light part of Death Mountain, when you could have just continued checking the Norfair area. So it was so you just wanted to get to Dark Death Mountain right away there, follow those myths.
I was following the Hookshot still.
Okay.
Cause like you said, Hookshot didn't turn up anything first time, and I put considerable went out of my way a lot to follow it.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. If you're going to go back to Wrecked Ship and go through bowling again for Hookshot, and I was mentioning this while we were commentating, you're going to chase that Hookshot pretty aggressively because you've already sunk a lot into going to get it. But one thing I need it. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask was, early on, when you got Dark World access, you chose to do West Dark World rather than go into Pod, and I wasn't sure what was driving that decision.
I was hoping for a mirror to show up to combo EP and Pod, and I also didn't really want to do Pod, Dark Pod with so few hearts. Fire Rod showing up kind of helps that, but also kind of like, I don't know. I've done a lot of all dungeons speedruns lately because that tournament's going on, and that's a 5-heart Almasaur with a Fighter Sword. And so like I'm used to it enough I could have done it, but I didn't feel like doing that in the dark meant I'm probably taking at least 2 hits on the way there, and then I'm probably at like maybe only 1 hit left that I can take during the fight.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So one thing I really want to applaud you on. So the mirror portal management you did out of TR, because we were trying to figure out, like, you know, when you went and got your flip took the flippers, followed the flippers, went and picked up your gravity suit and your ice rod, and we're like, okay, he's just gonna go right back to a TR, go ahead and go into the portal. But then no, you surprised us by going into ice, and I'm like, no, wait a minute, he still has that mirror portal so long as he doesn't save and quit or use it, and that's what you ended up doing. So yeah, we want to talk about that for a second because that was I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, I was gonna have to walk to ice anyways unless Flip happened to show up in anything else. I was still hoping to find it, but I didn't think it was likely to show up in between then and now, so I just did it then. And honestly, going into Turtle Rock, I got baited really hard by... I decided not to take the top portal on Dark Death Mountain, figuring, okay, you know what, it's unlikely that I'll get all the stuff that I need to enter T-Rock here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I get Samaria, and I'm like, oh, well, crap, I guess I could probably enter it. And then I get Mir, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of bailed out.
Yeah.
But, like, clearing it, I think was a bad decision, because I didn't take full account of what I had left to do, what I still needed, and all I needed was Ice Rod and Gravity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just two things that are could be in so many different places. Like high jump or flute could have been my Norfair access. Like there were so many ways that and I still, like, I opened up a bunch of crystal dungeons that I could have done. So there were just so many places I could have gone to look for Ice Rod and had stuff to do still, and potentially open up Lure Norfair, which would have opened up a lot of other checks too. So
Yep.
I felt really bad about the decision, and I got lucky that it didn't burn me. And that plus 2 items in Eden were right next to each other too.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Yeah, that was quite the seed, I'd say. But yeah.
Yeah, there were some nicely clustered items in terms of Samaria and Mirror being grouped, and also Ice Rod and Gravity being grouped in this one. Unfortunately, the speed to hookshot to Mirror plus Samaria chain was sort of the thread that Aussie left till last, so it was, you know, an unfortunate set of items, but they did kind of flow naturally into one another, like once you found the first piece. And so that, I think that helped quite a bit in terms of, you know, getting you everything you needed early enough.
Yeah, I was worried that I had done a lot of stuff inefficiently. Like I did Skull and Beeps early, and I lost some time due to not having good equipment, so I figured, oh, I probably lost time there. I probably lost time walking a whole bunch of places. So when I saw where Gravity was, I kind of had hope, because I was like, okay, well, I should have had this way earlier, but now that I think about it, that's actually finding Ice Rod here that's going well for me. So that means it's actually pretty likely Gravity baited him into Meridia, so I felt pretty okay after that.
Yeah, Aussie did a very nice splash deletion. Go ahead and get that Gravity early without the flipper, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I had the Zora area in mind from very early, ever since I Houlihan at the start.
Yeah, that Houlihan into Moon Pearl was like...
That messed up my plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can happen.
I was gonna actually do Fake Flipper there. Like, it was gonna be a rare occasion I did that. But I didn't expect to get a glove at Ice Rod Cave. So when I got that, that was just too much to follow.
Gravity did lead me to the boots, so I wasn't feeling as terrible after getting boots for all of my Dark World.
Got the nice ice clip to the, snail clip to those boots.
Yeah, that was another thing, Aussie. Did you ever end up... I don't think you ever found any of the beams, did you?
I got Spazer and Plasma from Wreckship.
Oh, yeah, you did end up over in Wreckship, that's true. I was going to say, because for a while, Azure was just minus charge, and you were on Power Beam.
Yeah.
Because of where the items fell and that you were, you know, in Meridia and stuff. It was unusual in that regard.
Yeah, it was a long time on just Power Beam, and it's no fun farming for Ridley on Power Beam.
Not at all, especially without grapple or a screw attack to help you out with that.
Yeah, you did a good job with the Zebos and managed it fairly well, but it's a slow farm and it's not particularly fun.
Oh, it's really bad without even charge, because like charge helps it, because you can one shot them. You can like
And then they only dropped health and missiles. on top of
Yeah,
that.
those drops
Oh
were
god, that's terrible. Yeah, I know, it was horrible.
you
And,
finally started getting missiles and supers once you were full health. It was just like, come on. Zebos, please.
But yeah, and also, turns out that we did get to showcase a little bit of the new v11. 'Cause we did charge beam in GT. So like within maybe 30 seconds, Azure, you got your charge beam, then got your soul. That was crazy.
I was actually kind of worried about ammo. I was gonna.
Yeah, you weren't there yet.
I really wasn't. I was at like 205.
Yeah, I was about to like reprimand you for threatening to leave precious missiles behind. I was like, no, you need those,
Yeah.
man. You need those.
Yeah.
Then you went back and got them. So
And he did.
That was weird though. Like, when do you ever need ammo in SMZ3?
I know, right?
Well, when you're on 9 heart green mail 130 go mode.
You need ammo.
That was kind of yeah. That was a bit rough.
Yeah,
You
and in
need
fact,
ammo when you're on world record base.
yeah. In
Yeah,
fact,
okay.
Azure, there was at one point I looked at your load and I'm like, I don't know what his ammo count is, but other than that, he's in go mode. He's got everything he needs. I think it was as you were going through Ice Palace and you skipped the chest in the spike room there after you'd done the icebreaker. I'm like, why is he skipping this chest? Oh, right, he's got everything. That is kind of a slow chest because all the little things you have to do to get it. So don't blame me for skipping it at that point.
I'm glad I got to do Icebreaker and Diver Dan. I kind of jumped Icebreaker.
Yeah, you got it in the end, but it was. I don't know if you want to. Yeah, I couldn't. I still can't explain how those. So I kind of just said, yeah, put the block down in the right place and clip on through. But
Man, I went for the Meyer bomb jump, but I didn't have the link sprite, so didn't have a queue to get it.
I was wondering, I saw you go for the bomb jump, and I wasn't sure. It's not one I've seen applied very often, so I didn't have a good context for what the setup was for it.
But Meyer also has the door dash at the lobby chest, so I did get to show that one off. The door extension dash.
Oh, the Meyer Breaker.
Yeah, it's a fair name for it.
Yeah, well, I apologize for missing that one. That one
Yeah.
didn't see it.
yeah, unfortunately, while you were in Meyer at that point, Azure was I want to say in the GT area. I think I'm not entirely sure, but it was you were looking for something and trying to follow going on. Yeah, but SMZ3 it's sometimes when you have the routes you guys took completely different. I mean, it's just which makes it fun for us, I think, but also makes it more difficult.
Yeah, very good race. Thank you guys for letting Tracy and I commentate and for showing off this V11 in advance of this upcoming 1v1 tournament, which I know I'm excited for. Hopefully you guys are both planning on entering so that I can lose to each of you.
Well, I'd lose to all three of you, but like I said, I'll be doing all the commentary. Well, not all the commentary. We got some other really good people join, but I'll be helping organize and do commentary for this tournament. Super looking forward to seeing all three of you race, to be honest.
Should be fun. Yeah, Azure, Aussie, was there anything else that you guys wanted to mention about this seed? And I'm glad to see people in chat signing up, ready to, give it their best shot. All right. Aussie?
Say, I don't know. I just took the wrong path.
Yeah, that's SMZ3
That is SMZ3. That's
sometimes all the items fall in your lap, and sometimes it's full clear.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to step away for a bit.
It's all good.
Yeah, all good. Anything else you want to add then before we sign off?
No. It's kind of too bad the race itself didn't go well, but I think the seed and stuff that we got to show off was decent enough.
Yeah, it was a great showcase from both of you in terms of execution and routing, given all the different contingencies and the decision trees that you had available. So I know I really enjoyed it. I think everyone really enjoyed it overall. So yeah, thank you again for racing, and GG's to both of you. And I'll
Yeah,
let
absolutely.
Tracy sign us off.
Alrighty then. So yeah, thank you both to Ashdar and Asi for agreeing to do this, because you know, I mean, they're both like we said, very busy in Ashdar in 3 tournaments, Asi in 2. So you know, taking their time out to do this is really awesome. And soon they're going to be each in one more when this thing. Thank you to Maniacal for joining me. We've done SM together, but this is our first SMZ3 together, because usually one or both of us is playing the weeklies, so we don't get to commentate together for these very often. So really glad we got to do that. Thank you to Mind Me for doing the tracking, keeping us honest, clicking those buttons behind the scenes. If you haven't tracked, it's a lot of work. It's hard work, and there's a reason why I tend not to do it. And thank you to Miss Metroid for setting all this up and getting the runners together and getting us together and making this whole thing happen. And also to her to getting the whole tournament started, because you know I'm gonna take her lead on the organizer side of things, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with this tournament, and really looking forward to all.
Yeah, which reminds me, entry is open, so go click that challenge link. Go sign up for the tournament. It is starting with group stages, so there's a lot of play for everyone in the early stage of the tournament at all skill levels, and it'll be great to have a huge, diverse field. I want to see a lot of people show up. You know, there's cash prizes and no entry fee, and that sounds like a win to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a win. But yeah, that's gonna do it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. I also thank you to all of you for watching, and I hope you really enjoyed what you got to see. Unfortunately, not a really close race, but yeah, 2 very good runners, 2 of the best, if not the best, at this gameplay, and I think they really got to show some good stuff to us. So I will sign it off. And since it is the end of the day for me, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you may be.